welcome back, Full Heel Podcast. I am glad you're joining me. I am your host, Donkeytron, the host of the Full Heel Podcast. Joining me today is my buddy Ryan. What's going on, Ryan?
You ever notice that the teachers that have sex with kids are much more stunning than the teachers that you had when you were in high school?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I was just going
No,
through
that's crazy.
That it just popped up. I just saw another, and I'm like, God damn it, man!
Yeah.
Like, my teachers are like 90.
You know what it is? Kids are getting sexier. That's what it is.
That's it.
Fucking kids.
Goddamn kids.
Yeah. Welcome
How you
back,
doing,
Ryan.
Ralph?
Yeah, great.
Yeah, we are back to say Full Heel Podcast.
Yeah.
Bring it back to number one.
Back to normal. I hope you don't feel forced to be here, Ryan. I hope you're here voluntarily with your own free will. I don't have drones circling your house or Secret Service around it forcing you to be on this show. I hope you don't feel obligated to do this either.
I'm always the one that I feel like I'm like ragging on you to be like, hey, let's do another show. Let's do it. Like, I feel like your show, and I'm like constantly trying to like jump on to talk with you more than anything else. Like, I love being on the Full Heel Podcast. Like,
I have fun, and that's why I invite these guys. That's why these guys come over. But I got called out Saturday. The episodes are there. You guys can go check them out. I'm not talking shit or trying to throw shade at anybody. They're there. I got called out for not being a quote-unquote good friend or down with the squad. So I don't know what that means. Well, I do know what that means.
Before
but
you hit the record button, you gave a little bit of Wolfpack love to some people, so you're in a squad. There's at least two people that you're tight with.
No, I'm not gonna get into it. The episodes are there, but I don't know what to say about it. It's fucking dumb, to be honest. It's really dumb. I shouldn't have to be dealing with this stuff. It gets pretty heated and personal. Like I said, I got called out for not being a good friend. I got mad. I wasn't drunk or anything.
I haven't heard it yet, but from what you've told me, it just sounds like just.
No, and I've been pissed. Like, well, I haven't been pissed. It's been festering these couple of days because sometimes you're like, hey, what, am I really not a good friend? Then I think about it. I was like, no, I was a good friend. I'm not. I just don't want to go out and do bullshit.
Let me say something like this. The fact that you're talking to me, you're a good friend. like that, you know what I mean? Like that you've looked past a lot of stupid things to talk with me, which means a lot, because I know a lot of people would be like, well, fuck that, never again. Especially because we've never even met.
Oh, and the door's not closed. I just want an apology. I felt disrespected.
No, that's what I mean. But that's what I mean. Like the fact that we've never actually met person to person. We just we talk online all the time, and after everything, we still talk.
Yeah.
Like, that tells me a lot about your character. So if someone that actually does see you and actually does hang out with you and does know you, I don't know them. I can't believe that though, because of my experiences with you. So. Yeah, I think you're solid.
Here's the root of the problem. I don't like going out. He puts together shows that partake at bars and have to do with drinking and stuff like that. I don't do that stuff. And so I'm not going to go. And if that means I'm a bad friend, guess what? I'm a bad friend. Like, people want to act like I didn't host Talk is Deep. You want to act like I don't invite them to every single fucking one of the pay-per-views. Like, and you know what really pissed me off? He called me a liar too, because I look, like you said, I look past a lot of little things, and I'm like, all right, you want to talk bullshit? You owe me for fucking pay-per-views. I paid you for every single one of them, and I'm like, dude, so I don't complain to everyone that you don't pay me for shit sometimes, and then he's like, Rafa, come on, and I'm like, dude, you're gonna call me a liar on my fucking podcast, dude? I'm like, and then I turned off the cameras, and I'm like, dude, you want to continue with the fucking line? He's like, leave me alone. It's like, come on, dude, like, what is this bullshit? I'm dealing with too much fucking bullshit on the side.
Right.
With family issues and stuff I don't need to get into. To have to deal with bullshit feelings.
Yeah.
I don't have a girlfriend for this reason because I don't want to deal with this fucking shit.
Right.
And then I get pushed to the point where I'm gonna get loud, and then people want to get loud with me, and guess what? I'm gonna get aggressive. And people don't like me getting aggressive because it's like, why are you bullying people? Why are you doing this? Well, stop acting like a fucking asshole. And I won't have to be an asshole either. Like, I don't know. That's how I deal with my shit. Like a fucking man and straight to the point. No run arounds. Oh, well, that's how other people feel. What other people? And then other people hear the show, and I'm like, listen to the show. And then they're like, yeah, listen to it. And I'm like, do you feel obligated to come? Nope. They're like, I like coming. I like going to watch the fights. I like smoking weed. It's like,
and that's the thing. Like all the times that I've been on here, it's been a blast. Like I have fun. Like I say stupid things, and I'm just like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. But you're just like, you flow with it. You bounce right off it, or you blow by it. I'm like, oh, thank God he didn't like harp on it. He didn't say this or that. And like, yeah, it's if I put out the bat signal to you and say, hey, I got no plans and I'm bored as fuck. I'm going to watch some wrestling. Do you want to do this? You say, sure. And vice versa. You respect me. And if I say, you know what, I really can't do this weekend, you're like, all right, cool. No worries. Like, you know, maybe we'll talk next week and we'll figure a show to do. Like, it's not like you're like, well, you're never coming back on.
Fuck
like
you, asshole.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you understand that people have things go on in their life because much like every other human on planet Earth, you have things in your life where I might shoot you a message, hey, you watched the fights tonight, and you might get back to me the next day like, I missed him. I was busy with this or that. Like things happen where you can't obligate yourself to things, and it's not a big deal. Like but you're not like nitpicky. Like, well, if you couldn't do this one time, then it's never again. Mm-hmm. You're like, so to hear that, it's like and like I said, I never met you. And everything that we've been through in like 2 years ish has told me the exact opposite of what I'm hearing right now. I haven't heard the episode, so I can't dive in too much, obviously. Mm-hmm. And I don't know the whole stories and whatnot. But from what it sounds like, everything that what you're saying that was said is on record.
Oh no, it's all there. It's all there.
Like, so it's like it clearly was said, and I can't buy any of it. Like I just can't believe that about you because of how I have known you without actually knowing you.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not closing any doors. I'm not saying people are banned, but I definitely want an apology for being disrespected. Everything's there. I was told I was being an ass or not a good friend because I didn't want to go do stuff I didn't want to do. Okay. Apparently he feels obligated to come, and
that's something like if he feels obligated because he's your friend, then he should feel also comfortable to say, you know what, man, I really don't want to do it. Like if you're that much of a friend that you feel obligated to do something, you should be that much of a friend that you can be honest with a guy.
And then he's like, you get mad at other people for not coming to your things, and then you call them out, and I'm like, that's because they asked me to be on the show. If you are not going to share my podcast or help me promote it in any other way, but then you're going to ask me to be on it.
And then don't show.
A dick.
Oh.
Like, that's what he's trying to say. Like, you get mad at other people for not sharing your shit, and then you call them out. I'm like, yeah, because they've asked to be on the show. Like, what do you mean? Like, I'm not going to have people on that just want to be on but don't do anything for the show. That doesn't make any sense to me. They don't watch fights. They weren't like it's not like they were originally watching the fights before the podcast started. But you know what? It's all there. It's all there. You guys can go back and listen to it. Just a little update, I guess, from the last one. Check it out. There was an hour at least of Dragon Ball Z talk. So the first hour is Dragon Ball Z. The last half hour is bullshit. But today
is that the oh fuck.
What?
1 second. Japan, that Japanese thing just came up again. Second.
Oh, you're fucking.
Yeah, the screen you just disappeared. Does that?
The Japanese are taking over, bro.
There. I'm surprised it's not China with everything that's happening with that Huawei company.
The phone company.
Where like the CEO got arrested in Canada and we're not letting her go, and people's phones have been fucky ever since in Canada.
Well. You know why the United States banned them, right? Because they're scared that they're going to spy on us and they're going to have all our secrets and they're going to have all our information.
Well, that's basically what everyone's saying about Canada. It's like we arrest their CEO and all of a sudden, like everything stops working.
Oh no, that's exactly what it is. It's Huawei.
It's like so weird. It's like
It's
how
the Huawei company, right? Joe talks about it all the time.
yeah, yeah, it's so funny. It's like you guys are clearly guilty of something. It's the fact that we arrest someone for suspicions of this, and all of a sudden everyone's phone stops working and pictures and data starts missing. It's like, why? What? You wonder why we're
Mm-hmm.
suspicious? It's like
Um,
you almost expect there to be like a ministry, and the president of China is gonna be under a cloak. He just rips his mask back. He's like, "It was me. It was me all
Damn, so
along."
China's arresting fucking all these foreign people, and then Trudeau's
You
doing
know?
brown face multiple
Brown.
times.
Oh, and the best. I love everyone. And this is quick sidebar. If you think for a second when Trudeau says, "I'm sorry, I was young, I was stupid," when you put on blackface, a shirt with bananas on it, and you jump up and down making monkey gestures and monkey sounds, and you say, "I didn't know that that was inappropriate." Now, I'm sorry. If you buy that for one
I don't know
second,
about the whole monkey gestures and all that
oh
stuff.
yeah, this
I
is
just thought I just thought I was about to defend him. Like it was only blackface, all right.
no, he did the Aladdin thing, but that was like the last one that we know of.
Mm-hmm.
He has one that where yeah, he's got blackface on, a t-shirt with bananas on it. He's like and it's like all the stuff and like ugh! And he's like, I'm sorry for that. And we're like, are you?
What is
Because
it? See, it
I'm
sucks because
sorry.
he's a politician, so like you can't be doing that shit. You knew you were gonna
But
be a
it
politician, dude.
but it's funny because like my first thought was like if you go to a hockey game, a baseball game, a football game, whatever, and you throw a banana on the field, banned for life. But you do this and you're prime minister or president, whatever, it's like, well, he was younger. He didn't mean to do it. Like, come on, what are we doing? Like,
They're trying to. Did you hear they're trying to impeach Trump? Before we move on and talk about the Undertaker, don't worry, guys. We're
I
gonna
I
get to it.
did, yeah. I've heard of this for a while. Like, I feel like it just kind of like,
Oh no,
I
I thought this was old too. This isn't the Mueller report. It's
no, like I've heard this story. Like, hey, I feel like I hear this and something around the world pops up, and then
mhm.
this pops up. It's almost like the U.S. is making these distractions because last time I heard it was like 3 weeks ago, and then Trudeau's blackface pops up everywhere, and then it comes, and then Trudeau's blackface kind of like dissipates into the background, and like it pops up again with Nancy Pelosi was talking about it, and I was like, oh, this is like they're really pushing for this, like they're not letting go. Because when's is your election next year or this year?
um, they're. I'm getting already a registration thing, so I'm guessing it's this year.
Yeah, because I
Yeah,
have
yeah, because
mine.
2020.
Mine's next month. Yeah. Oh no, so yours 2020 is next year. Then you vote.
Okay, yeah. I guess
Yeah,
I have
we
to
vote.
register a year and ahead.
We vote next month. 21 more days of true dope.
Hoo, hoo, hoo. We might as well get down to it, Ryan, because it's a long
Yeah.
one. Like I said, I
The long
mentioned
one we gotta try and shorten somehow.
what?
We got 30 plus years in one company alone.
Yeah, I was gonna say 29, but what? We're not gonna give
Oh,
him the two
actually,
months.
yeah, I guess 2029 in Survivor Series. Yeah, that's fair. Not 30. Yeah.
2 months is nothing. He's done it.
3 decades. Yeah, he'll be
Yeah,
there. He
yeah,
has
he'll
to.
be there
He has to make some kind of a ceremonial appearance.
at WrestleMania. Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. He should. Actually,
He's
not.
got to bury. He has to bury Bray Wyatt one more time at WrestleMania.
No, maybe he puts him over this time.
Nah, Taker can't go at WrestleMania with a loss. Yeah, me.
I wanted the storyline to be Bray Wyatt beat the Undertaker the first time, and then Bray Wyatt cannibalized the Undertaker, and we have a new Undertaker.
That I'm not mad at. If he like drags him into
See,
the
maybe
family,
it's a little extreme, but maybe he like reached out or reached in and like pulled out the heart, and like
something.
like
Yeah,
ate it, like
that would have been pretty. Especially again, like that Florida Everglades, that little shack that he had. See, I kind of wanted Undertaker to come out as the American Badass to fight John Cena, and I wanted there to be like a legit story, but that story was so god awful and so weak, and that match was not. There was no purpose to that match that it made me so sad when I saw him again. I'm like, why? Like you came back to fight John Cena like for 3 seconds, and now you want me to believe that you're still the dead man? Come on. But there was a beginning date.
yeah. Actually, so born Mark Calloway, March 24th, 1965. He made his debut in WCCW 1984. CWA he made his debut in CWA 4 years after that, which was also in association with USWA, I think it was something like that. But
United States Wrestling Alliance.
yeah, with
Yeah.
Lawler.
Yeah.
With Lawler.
Down in down in Memphis and all that stuff before that was taken over by. Yeah, they had a merger. Yeah.
Yeah. So So after that, he goes to WCW or Master of Pain in 1989 with CWA. In 1989, 1990, goes over to WCW, becomes Mean Mark Callis. Replaced Sid Vicious in the Skyscrapers. I think they won a title. But
I think you're not sure. You might be right.
Yeah, but he was part of the Skyscrapers. That eventually broke up because one of the other guys got injured too, so it was only him. He made his WWF debut November 19th, 1990 as Kane the Undertaker with Brother Love. And then eventually he will get his iconic manager, Paul Bearer.
But
Undertaker!
But you know what's funny is I was reading on how Kane the Undertaker became the Undertaker. It was all by accident. It was during the Survivor Series matchup when he made his pay-per-view and TV. I think it was maybe TV debut. No, it wasn't. His pay-per-view debut, regardless. Sorry. One of the commentators just called him the Undertaker. Yeah. They left off Kane because it was just too long to say. So like, and here comes the Undertaker again, and that stuck so much that they decided to roll with that going forward, which kind of sucks in a way because it would have been cool to have like this guy named Kane, the Undertaker, and what you could have done with him. Mm-hmm. But 7-8 years down the line, you end up with this like amazing story because of the fact that they just had this random name in the background. So
to me, the Undertaker gimmick is probably the best gimmick the WWE has ever ran with, and it stands the test of time. Even though he did the American Badass thing for a little bit,
I'd say it's the greatest gimmick. Period. Like I don't know what tops it. Like there are a lot that might come.
I got one.
Which one?
Gobbledygook. The gobbledygooker, bro.
He still makes his appearance at WrestleMania in those battle royales, once in a while.
He's still there. He's still alive. 30 or.
But yeah, like if like the Undertaker, you think about any gimmick. Hulk Hogan changed to Hollywood for so long, and Ric Flair has gone. Even though he's just been Ric Flair, he's been a lot of different entities of Ric Flair. Guys may have had like a flash in the pan, like Austin and The Rock and Triple H. They had gimmick to gimmick to gimmick. Shawn Michaels gimmick, Bret Hart gimmick to gimmick, Roddy Piper, Dusty Rhodes. They all either were flashed in the pans of some certain gimmicks, but the Undertaker's gone 30 years. Mm-hmm. Even when he was the American Badass, he still went by the Undertaker, and he would still do the tombstone. He would still do the sit up. So
we all knew who he was.
Yeah, there were, and I actually have a fun tidbit about the American Badass and as to why the Undertaker switched over when we get to that era. But the gimmick of the Undertaker, it's the greatest gimmick of all time, and he's lived it for so long, and people still, like, I was watching WrestleMania 20 the other night, and I was just like, got goosebumps of like chills and just like remembering the first time I saw it and seeing him come back as that character, because that's so many childhoods, so many young adults. Like when he made his debut, he's been involved in so many lives with the Undertaker, and he's made it so classic.
Fuck yeah. Let's see. Where were we in his career? Yeah, so he gets Paul Bearer, his first, his second manager. His first feud was at Mania with Jimmy Superfly Snuka. But actually, before I move on, I think his first match was in WCCW. Was actually against Bruiser Brody.
Oh, really? That was his first one, eh?
Yeah, I was reading that. And apparently, Bruiser Brody took it easy on the Undertaker because the Undertaker's a pretty respectful guy, very professional. So Bruiser didn't really fuck him over. I was listening to something to wrestle with, and they were talking about why didn't Andre and this guy cross paths?
Oh,
Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
they were saying that they could have, but even Pritchard said he's like, look, I think the Undertaker was just wise enough just to stay away from the Giant, knowing the kind of person that he was, and just was
Yeah.
respectful to him and just stayed out of his way. Because Andre was known for not liking big guys.
He wanted to be the one big guy. Um, yeah, I don't want to go too deep into Andre, do a sidetrack, but I remember there was a couple of something to wrestle with where they're talking about oh, was it Big Boss Man? And Andre the Giant was known as the boss in the background or something like that, and or the boss man. And because Ray Traylor came in and he was the big boss man, a lot of people were like, "Oh shit, don't cross Andre because he's the boss. Like that's what he is backstage." People always say, "Hey, boss." So now that you're the big boss, don't go anywhere near him because he will light you up. Like, yeah. So it's kind of funny for the Undertaker to, because I mean, it's not like Undertaker could have had a great feud in the 91, 92 because he was well on his way to being in the crutches and that kind of stuff. But still, like, backstage is backstage. That's a whole different world.
They don't fuck with the Giant. Let's see. Yeah, so his first feud was at Mania with Snuka. Or actually, that was his first win. His first W at Mania was against Jimmy Superfly Snuka. Which is...
What do you mean his first win? Was there like a streak or something that starts from this, or?
Well, what's funny is they say that I don't even know when the streak starts. No one really knows when they kind of catch on to it. But yeah, this would be the first of the streak. The first.
I'm gonna call bullshit on part of that because I'm not 100% sure, but I could swear that at one point they say Undertaker's never lost. He's 8-0, or he's 7. They make a reference at some point about him never. Like, okay, that's commentators, and they say backstage that Undertaker walked up and said, I've never lost at WrestleMania. That could be my thing. And Vince kind of like ran with it that way. But there was a lot of mentions around, and I want to say it was like that 2001, 1999 range, maybe a bit later, but they definitely really start working it after a while, like 11-0, 12-0. They really start milking it on a lot earlier than they claim to with the Titantron stuff.
There's some questionable ones in there. We'll get to them. We'll cover his wins. Yeah.
Greatest
So
WrestleMania match of all time.
yeah.
It's coming real soon.
Yeah. So this is at 7, right? WrestleMania 7, where he beats Snuka. Yeah. And then let's see. After that, he goes on to feud with Warrior as well. Locks him in an airtight casket. Later on, go ahead.
So I was gonna say, actually, one of my favorite matches, and I wanted to pick it, but I went against it, was the body bag match. It's actually, if you have 2K, I think it's 14 or 15, John Cena's on the cover. It has an Ultimate Warrior like story mode, and that's one of the matches that you can play. So for me, I remember like watching that as a kid, and I got to play it like 20 years later. Fucking awesome.
He goes on to beat Hogan to win his first title here in 91. Loses it really quick though. Drops it.
Yeah, so he wins it on, I want to say it was like I don't know if it was a Raw or a Survivor. It was something. It could have been Survivor Series. I'm not 1,000% sure. But Flair slips a chair as he gets a tombstone near the ropes. 1, 2, 3, and then Tuesday in Texas, Hogan regains it. Sorry, not regain. I forget exactly how, but it was also a controversial finish, which led to the.
They stripped them, right, of the title.
Yeah, and that was leading into Royal Rumble '92, where Flair wins the Royal Rumble and gets the title and all that. Yeah.
So this is what you would. This is why I love doing the show. This is why I love doing it, because I did not know why that title was vacant at Royal Rumble '92 or '91. What was it?
92.
Yeah, '92. I did not know why it was vacant. I just knew that it was one of the greatest Royal Rumbles because the title was on the line. I had thought there was maybe some bullshit with Hogan where he was being difficult and he might have left. But now I know.
Oh, okay,
Now I
yeah,
know.
yeah,
Now I
no,
know
yeah.
that it was they both had
And
won on
and you
controversial
know what?
decisions.
And you know what sucks is you think about this WrestleMania that ends up with Sid Justice and Hulk Hogan because Justice eliminates Hogan, one man for all. So Hogan's like, "Oh, I'm gonna cheat and pull you out, you son of a bitch," and Flair gets the title. Whatever.
Hmm.
You just had the Undertaker beat Hogan for the title, and then Hogan takes it back. You put the title on Flair. Cool, whatever. Could you imagine Hogan and the Undertaker at WrestleMania? The streak would probably
No, it wouldn't exist.
the streak would be 1-0. That's it.
Yeah, that would that's what
That would
that's
have
what it
been
did.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Like they could have easily ran with a quick storyline of Undertaker and Hulk Hogan going forward, but instead they wanted to do Sid Justice. The Undertaker ends up with this like iconic legacy, all because like they couldn't put Hogan with Undertaker at that time.
Yeah, he gets a fucking badass legacy. So after this, he's out of the title picture for because Hogan takes it back. But Jake is gonna attack Miss Elizabeth with a chair.
Yeah, because so in something that we'll see a lot in the immediate future is Jake the Snake and Undertaker are the unholy alliance.
Yes.
They interrupt the wedding and attack Elizabeth and Macho Man, and then as Jake goes to attack Elizabeth, Taker stands in, comes the big face, and like all of a sudden this Undertaker who disembowels and buries people is a good guy,
Yeah.
which is pretty amazing.
Well, he's saying Miss Elizabeth. You gotta turn him face.
But you know, oh no, but it's just like the gimmick is like that's not a face in 1992 by any stretch.
No.
But yeah, like but it sold and it worked and people were all in, and I'm so happy that they were.
Yeah. So he's 2-0 at WrestleMania 8, beating Jake the Snake Roberts. Goes on to feud with Macho Man.
Side of the ring. If you've never seen that one, it's a good one.
No, I don't think I have. Let's see. In '93, he goes on to have the worst match of all time. Wins by disqualification. I don't even know why this counts towards the streak if it was disqualification. Well, I guess because he won, right? So he's 3-0. He takes on El Gigante Gonzalez from Argentina.
You said it so wrong. It's El Gigante, Giant Gonzalez from Argentina.
So with the worst bodysuit anyone has ever seen, he's almost 8 feet tall. I did not realize how tall he was till I recently when I started doing the show again. I just knew he was bigger than the Undertaker, but that's when I was a kid. I go back and see it. This motherfucker's almost 8 feet tall.
And he was a legit basketball player too for a while.
Yeah, but super stiff. He got really fucked up for being a giant.
Yeah.
And maybe they just didn't get him in time. But Undertaker goes 3-0 at the yoga party. I think that was
toga party.
Yes.
Not a yoga party.
Yeah, they're doing yoga.
Yes. And stretch.
Yeah. So he's out in 1994. So the Undertaker is there. So the streak does not continue there for 94. I think he was out with a hip replacement, or he was this where he went to get married?
This was the back injury.
Okay. So
he's the back injury that sidelined him for 8 months.
Mm-hmm. So he's out for a while. Ted DiBiase brings in the Undertaker, but they kind of fool people with it. People think it's the Undertaker. The Undertaker comes back, brought in by Paul Bearer, and so yeah, which leads to the feud. I don't know, was it at WrestleMania 10? No, SummerSlam.
WrestleMania 10, he missed.
Because of the back injury, right?
Because of the back. So yeah, this was SummerSlam was Taker versus Taker, where the Undertaker beat the Undertaker. The real one beat the fake one, just so everyone's clear.
Yeah, so like he kind of just goes on to feud with people from the $1 Million Company or the $1 Billion Company Corporation.
$1 Million Corporation, yeah.
And
that was basically it. Yeah, from like summer '94 right through WrestleMania, like everyone.
Because April 2nd, 1995, WrestleMania. What WrestleMania is it?
11.
11. He takes on King Kong Bundy. King Kong Bundy isn't the same as
I'm not gonna lie.
he
I
was.
had WrestleMania 11 as a bootleg VHS when I was a kid, and I watched the fuck out of this. And for me, being 11 and seeing King Kong Bundy for the first time in like 6 years,
Mm-hmm.
I I went ape shit the first time I watched it, and I could not get enough of this match. Like I watched this match, I probably could have choreographed it. I watched it so much. It's not a good match.
No.
But for me as a kid, I'm like, oh my god, King Kong Bundy's back and the Undertaker. This is awesome.
Yeah, it's
Like
crazy.
this is like yeah, it's like if Ric Flair were to fight Hulk Hogan right now, it would be garbage. But if you're like 10, greatest thing in your life.
Well, Jesus still makes me. He made me go. Actually, one of the ones that we first broke down. Dusty Rhodes versus AJ Styles.
Oh fuck. But that was Impact?
Yeah, TNA.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad.
Jesus. Ooh. Ooh.
It's pretty bad. If you
But
take
at the same time, like when you like those guys,
if you take into consideration,
you'll mark out, man. You'll mark out
yeah.
for guys, man. Like I did it for who was it at AEW? Arn Anderson. When I saw Arn Anderson come out, I marked so hard.
Spinebuster, baby.
That's it.
Spinebuster.
It was my highlight to see Arn Anderson back in there, baby.
Let's see. Where do we go from here? So that was
WrestleMania 11, yeah.
Let me bring up his streak. Because like I said, he kind of just is feuding with people from the $1 Million Company these years. Unless I wrote something else down. Undertaker.
No, that's pretty much like for most of the 90. Like there was a lot of times they didn't even know what to do with his character because they liked the gimmick, but they didn't have much to do with him.
In '94, he also gets his orbital broken, gets it fixed, and comes back with the opera mask that he had for a while.
Have you heard something to wrestle about that injury?
Yeah, it's pretty bad. He didn't even know he had it. There was air getting into it.
Yeah, like he just thought he had like whatever was like he's like, it's whatever, it'll pass. But apparently they were saying like with I forget how they compared it, but it was something of those things where like when you hear like if you take a breath, your eyeball was moving, and he was in there competing for like 3-4 months
before he got it.
And you're like every breath your eyeball moves, and he was fighting in the ring for like this ridiculous amount of time with that. It might not be 3 months, but it was something stupid where I heard that I'm like, if my eyeball moves once, I'm at the hospital. There's no, I'm gonna go to work for today only. No, I'm calling work on my way to the hospital. I'm not coming in. I don't care. My eyeball's moving. I can feel it.
At least it wasn't like fucking Vader. You remember that shit in the fucking ring?
Get back in.
That shit was sick. I love it.
Oh fuck, man.
Actually, we're gonna brush over that, but yeah, he gets his orbital broken. But then in '95, we were almost gonna go over this. He starts the feud, probably his greatest feud, unless you count the Kane feud better. Him versus Mankind.
I break it down. Like I look at early Undertaker and late Undertaker, and definitely the match, the feud, everything that saved him was Mankind. When they brought Mick Foley in, and they figured out a way to use him and Undertaker together,
interesting.
That all of a sudden Mankind went from being the Cactus Jack fought Sting for the heavyweight title in WCW, and it means nothing to them. But he fights a second match on a pay-per-view against the Undertaker, which is such a crap placement, and it steals the show. And they just keep on recycling it, and it sells. And they do it year after year. They change him from a brown outfit to a suit, and then one's in a corporation, one's in a ministry, but they always are going at it, and it always sells and sells and sells. And like this is 95, we're gonna see them going off and on for 5 years.
Yeah, they go on for a while because they don't even have their cage match till 97, and this starts in 95.
So the cage match is 97, and they still have
they have boiler room brawls though.
And they have matches though later on in like 98, 99 when there's like tag teams and shit. Like, these guys go for a while.
Yeah,
they bring out the best in each other.
They also have the Buried Alive match before that. Mankind actually buries the Undertaker, which I think leads to Undertaker leaving for a while.
Yeah, that was with the Executioner,
Mm-hmm.
who was gonna come in and who was the Freebirds? Not Michael Hayes. Oh fuck me, he's dead now.
In the butt.
Hmm.
In the butt.
No, he's dead. I'm kicking myself. I can't think of the Freebird, but he was the Executioner, and he was the one that attacked the Undertaker, and they were actually going to do an Executioner Undertaker kind of storyline when Undertaker came back.
Mm-hmm.
But Execution, I hate calling the Executioner. His drug addiction and his pain was too much, and he ended up leaving shortly after joining WWF, and he passed away.
Damn.
Right around that time. It was one of the fabulous Freebirds. Michael Hayes got him the gig through Vince and that, because this is when Michael Hayes was just kind of starting in the backstage roles and stuff like that too.
Let's see. So that was 95 where he beat King Kong Bundy, starts a feud with Mankind, has badass matches, and gets his career revitalized. And then, is this where he goes on to win WrestleMania? What is it?
This would be
12?
WrestleMania 12, and this is where
Diesel?
he beats. He beats Diesel
For the title?
No, WrestleMania 12 was the Iron Man match.
Next one is the one.
Yeah.
I skipped ahead, guys. Sorry. So he beats Diesel, where him and Diesel have a little bit of a feud going on with Bret Hart in the middle.
Yeah, and there was also a part of when his face got destroyed by Viscera. Diesel was also involved in that whole angle.
The King of the Ring thing, right?
Yeah, there was that whole thing that was happening. And Undertaker, in one of the probably the first instance of it happening in WWF, he breaks through the ring and drags Diesel to hell during a cage match against Bret Hart.
Yeah.
And that's when Bret escapes, which sets up Bret versus Shawn at the Iron Man match, and Taker and Diesel at WrestleMania.
They did a lot of this stuff where they maneuvered 4 different guys that were like towards the top, and they maneuvered them in ways where they split them up very well in storylines, which we'll see a little bit later on.
Terry Gordy. Sorry, I had to look it up. He was the Executioner. Sorry, the Executioner was Terry Gordy. That's why. Well, they had like Sid and Diesel and Undertaker and even Vader, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart. There were so many guys at that time that were legit sellers. Even if he was able to stay healthy, Ahmed Johnson fought a lot of those guys in big matches.
Yeah, well, I think then the very next years where we actually get to see it. So they actually do it here very well with Bret Hart, Diesel, and The Undertaker, each kind of taking the title or being in the title picture, where
moving it around a bit.
Diesel has a feud with Undertaker, which allows Bret to win, and then further on the next WrestleMania, I don't know if Bret carries it this long, but
Bret takes it from Diesel at the Survivor Series. You could hear all of this in our Bret Hart episode that I rambled on for 2.5 hours. Bret took it from Diesel, took it to 12, where he lost to Shawn Michaels, and then Shawn carries it. This is where Vader was supposed to win it, but that whole thing happened in SummerSlam. So instead of Vader, it was Sid. And Sid takes it, which eventually will lead to Undertaker has a couple little this and that matches. I think this is the summer where Paul Bearer turns on him and joins Mankind. I could be wrong. Could have been the summer earlier. Hey, Kobe, how you doing? But yeah, this will lead us into the WrestleMania 13 match.
Which I have the original poster, because I guess it was here in Chicago. Yeah, it's Rosemont Horizon.
Yeah, that was the second.
I didn't go, one. But yeah, one of my friends had it, or one of my dealer's cousins had it, and I would go pick up at his house. And he's like, "Hey, I hear you really like wrestling." I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "You'd probably appreciate this more than me." He's like, "I went to this." He's like, "But I went to it." He's like, "I got the memories. You can have the poster." And
that's pretty fucking badass.
He gave me an unfolded poster that came in the Sun Times.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I should put that up somewhere.
Because so he ends up fighting Sid and
beat Sid.
It's not the greatest match amongst big men as it could be. Like, Sid was better against guys like Bret and Shawn. He wasn't good against other big guys. And
Sid needed to be the big guy.
Yeah, and Undertaker could be a big guy, but he needs you to sell for him also. Like, Kane could sell for him. Sid couldn't sell worth shit. Sid could sell to a small guy, but not to a big guy. He could give as a big guy, no problem. But
Yeah. Just a quick mention. Me and Ryan are gonna, like I said, we're brushing through this. If you guys want us to break down any kind of years through the Undertaker, we can take a good batch of years and go through those because, like we mentioned, this guy's career is almost 30 years long, and there's sometimes throughout these years there's a lot thrown in there.
I mean,
Like,
you think about it when it comes to the Undertaker. Like, I got like a bunch of Bret Hart DVDs and that, but the Undertaker's DVD collection literally is like the Undertaker, the Brothers of Destruction, the Streak,
mm-hmm.
the Undertaker Part 2. Like when they put out his best of catalog, it's gonna be like a 16 DVD set, man. It's gonna be ridiculous.
I think Bret Hart's is gonna be bigger because he did put on some flops. If they just throw in matches, then yeah.
Yeah, but 30 years.
Yeah.
I mean, you could like, I mean, and think about gimmick matches like casket, ladder match, or not, Hell in a Cell, Buried Alive.
And
Like,
we'll get to one of those.
Look at how deep we are, and we haven't even talked about the first.
We haven't even got to the match. Yeah,
we're just talking his career right now.
Yeah. So this is March 23rd, 1997. He takes the title off of Sid.
We're getting there,
WrestleMania 13.
guys.
Yeah. And now we picked our first match, which would be Taker versus Bret Hart at what? It was?
No, we're still early.
Damn, we're still not even there.
So WrestleMania 13. So after this one,
because this is September. Fuck.
Yeah. So this is So he wins the title in March. This is where he starts the feud with Bret. This is where the we've talked about it ad nauseum a bunch of times. The Hart Foundation, and this is the SummerSlam where it's if Shawn doesn't call the match fair, he can't fight in America. If Bret loses to Undertaker, he can't fight in America. And Shawn accidentally hits Taker and costs him the title. And so I don't know. I think it was a week or two later was this match. So I think this was early September, mid-September, when this match takes place, and that was the end of August. I think mid-August. It was within a month.
He had already had his visual change, right? He changed to the teardrop and like
the teardrop. You know what? I think I'm lying to you. I think that this was October. I think that Undertaker had just fought Shawn Michaels in the in your house, where it went to a double count out, and then the following Saturday was this one. So Bret Hart this is after Ground Zero, and now they do this one special show over in England, which is most notable for Shawn Michaels beating the British Bulldog for the European title,
which was created for the British Bulldog.
Right? Yeah. But in the co-main was what Bret called his favorite match against the Undertaker, and these guys have had some battles for the past 4 years at this point. A lot of different installments, if you would, of both guys over the years. And this would be the last time that they fight. I'm going to say the last time they fight is singles. They might have like a tag team match, but after this, it's Hell in a Cell and Survivor Series. So they've well moved on for Undertaker and Bret Hart after this match.
Yeah, and it starts off pretty fast. The Undertaker comes at Bret using his punches, trying to use his power to overpower Bret. Bret trying to get out of there really quick.
Bret starting off the match with the undoing the turnbuckle also, which is crucial coming forward.
Yeah. Bret jumps out at the Undertaker at one point. Undertaker catches him, spine busters him on the outside. They begin fighting on the outside. Once they get inside, I don't know why I put it down. Bret reverses a pretty cool DDT. He gets a DDT. I think he reverses a tombstone into a DDT. No, I think he just gets a DDT. I don't know what I put there.
Was it a chokeslam?
No, you know why I even mentioned it? Because it's when he I think it might be off the chokeslam, and then he gets the DDT, but then Undertaker gets right up.
Oh, I'm thinking of the Shawn Michaels match. Sorry. I'm thinking of a different match.
Yeah, no, but I guess I wrote it down because the Undertaker gets right back up after Bret reverses a DDT. So he's not selling anything. This is a point where Undertaker's a dead man. He's not really selling much, and it's acceptable because that's his fucking character.
That's right. And that's actually sort of backtrack, but the Buried Alive, that's where when he came back from the Buried Alive was the first time they said he was the dead man.
Yeah.
He was no longer just the Undertaker.
Mm-hmm.
Now he was buried alive, so he's actually a dead man. He's an Undertaker, but he's actually no longer a living soul on planet Earth.
Bret gets tossed chest first into the exposed turnbuckle. And then Taker begins to take the offense here, begins to build momentum and work on Bret's back, and just starts beating him. On Bret. But Bret was working on the knees. If we forgot to mention, he's working on the knees for the sharpshooter.
A lot too, like you see him do, like we've talked about in matches with Diesel and with Sid, and this is one of the things that when people talk the big man, this is why I don't even know why a lot of people consider him a big man, because the Undertaker has to get damaged the way that those guys do, but when you see the shit that he does in the ring, flying over the top rope,
dude,
walking
he planchas.
He climbs the top rope like that. He doesn't care. He'll go through the ropes, over the ropes, off the top rope. Sid and Diesel, like those guys would use that as a gimmick to get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
This was like he would use the top rope as an effective means. He didn't necessarily just have power moves. He could use finesse holds if the storyline needed it. Like he was very well versed on the ground and in the power moves. And when you see him going against Bret Hart, it's probably one of the reasons why I love watching Bret and Undertaker matches, is because it's not like watching Bret versus a big guy. It's like watching Bret versus Owen in a way. Like this is a guy that might not be as athletic because he's bigger, but he can push it just as hard as anybody. And he's willing to. Like Sid could do this stuff, but he didn't even want to try. He just wanted to use his mass. Undertaker's like, you know what? Let me try. There's not a big guy who does this.
But then look what happened to Sid when he did try it. Snap!
Yeah, well, that's because he didn't do it his whole career. He's like, I can do that. No, first time I'm going to try it, pay-per-view, I got this.
It makes my fucking leg hurt. That's why I broke my leg.
Yeah.
Pretty nasty.
That's when you had... That was the skateboarding one, right?
Yeah, skateboarding accident. Yeah, so Bret's working on the knees. He's going for stretches, holds, locking him in and whatever he can. The usual, separating the legs, kicking him in the abdomen, working on the knees, taking him to the ropes.
Yeah, figure four on the pole. And Jerry the King Lawler really, really emphasized that one too. Like talking about how that's probably the worst pain the Undertaker's ever been in, even for a dead man.
Yeah.
He's like, if the dead man, he's like, I don't care if he's a dead man, he can feel that pain. Like really selling what the Undertaker's going through.
You mentioned the figure. Well, he gets him in an actual figure four inside the ring, not on the pole, which is fucking up the Undertaker. But the Undertaker reverses it, and they get stuck in it. The ref's like, break it up, where the ref actually has to break it up. And then let's see. Oh, Bret gets a fucking sharpshooter in, and Undertaker powers out of it. Just fucking is like, get out of here. Yeah.
When he does that, they made the commentary of no man has ever done it once, let alone a second time, or no man has done it, or no other superstar has done it once. Can he do it a second time? And then he bursts out, and I'm trying to figure out when was the first. Like, I don't know if I'm skipping over the SummerSlam match, maybe in recent memory for that pay-per-view, but I was drawing a blank as to when else the Undertaker could have kicked out of the sharpshooter. I need to go back and watch that SummerSlam match, I think, because I need to see if that was when Taker kicked out also. But yeah, like to have the dead man be the guy who can break it. Most guys can just like get to the ropes, but to actually like blow out and pop Bret across the ring, like that was a awesome move.
So yeah, Bret gets thrown to the outside. He gets pissed and he goes for the ring bell, but can't use it because the Undertaker kicks him in the face before he's able to use it. The bell gets dropped, and they go back and forth, exchanging moves.
I realized that going back watching these matches, I always knew how much the Undertaker loved using the big boot, but I never realized how crucial in a match he used it until like going back to watch these matches to break them down with you. Like he was very specific it looks like with how like he's gonna do specific things once. Sometimes he's gonna do this move 2 or 3 times,
Mm-hmm.
but he would always make sure like the big boot, the chokeslam, whatever it was, it had to have been like a purposeful move. It's not just like you run, I kick you, and then I pick you up and slam you. Like the boot was like his desperation, like shit, a lot of times, and I never really realized that.
I really, really like the reversal that Bret did on the walking of the ropes to Taker. So Taker grabs his arm, goes to walk his ropes in Taker fashion, but as soon as he gets to the top turnbuckle, Bret and sells it really well, pulls him down and flips
Yeah,
Taker
yeah,
off.
yeah, yeah.
It was pretty awesome. That I really, really liked the selling
And
of
Taker,
both
like as
guys.
he bounces, he like grabs his ass right away.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like fuck. Like it's like you could you could hear that it hurt, but the fact that he actually grabbed his ass as he bounced up, like he felt that one.
Mm-hmm.
That's a bruise in the morning.
Yeah. After a little bit quick back and forth, Taker goes for the tombstone, but Bret's by the ropes, and they're kind of by the ropes, and he kind of puts him over the ropes.
He's trying to like free himself and use the ropes to like
Yeah, there you go.
get out
Yeah,
of the move kind of thing. Like
yeah,
he's trying
yeah.
to free himself from the
Bret's
move.
trying to use the ropes to get out of it, and he gets his head in through one of the ropes, and through the first and second, and then Taker kind of just tosses him, and he gets tangled, and he's kind of choking there.
Now, Mick Foley, take note. That's how
ear.
it's done.
Yeah. Mick Foley would have lost an ear.
Mick Foley would have had no ears at this point.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, and then Undertaker, of course, as the referee's trying to break it up, Undertaker walks over and like, he's gonna help him, and just starts raining blows
Yeah.
on Bret. You're like, oh shit, he's still pissed.
So leads to disqualification. Undertaker does not get the belt. Owen and a referee come and help Bret from not dying because he's choking. And the Undertaker chokeslams him, and then as he's leaving, these guys hightailed it because the Undertaker's kind of walking behind them all slow. So Owen, Bret, and the other guy just take off. They're like, "Fuck this."
Yeah.
And as the Undertaker's at the top of the ramp, the ring announcer says, "And your winner due to disqualification and still World Heavyweight Champion, Bret the Hitman Hart." The Undertaker turns around pissed and goes at the ring announcer, and the ring announcer hightails it too out of there.
It's one of those things. It's like even if you announce Undertaker is the winner, you don't get the title. So what does it matter? Like even if you say the winner by disqualification, Undertaker, who cares? Like
it doesn't matter.
You're not getting the title regardless. Like who cares? Like, winner doesn't matter. The match is over.
He's evil, Ryan. Come on.
He's not evil. He's just pissed off at this point. You know what he has at this point? He has attitude.
He's got Paul Bearer.
Oh, right. No, right now he's got Paul Bearer on his ass about for his brother because the very next pay-per-view is the second career-altering moment for The Undertaker because it's revealed on Raw that Kane and his little brother were playing with some matches and they burnt down the family house and they killed mom and dad and they killed his baby brother. But guess what? He's alive!
Paul Bear,
Undertaker!
Paul Bear's been taking care of him, apparently, in the burn, wherever he's been burned in the hospital.
Which, if you follow wrestling, how is it that Undertaker and Paul Bear traveled the world all this time?
He's alive, Undertaker!
You're a murderer! The storyline was awesome. It made no sense because Paul Bear was constantly with Undertaker. He could not have been raising a child. But at the same time, you're like, oh shit, Paul Bear's raising Undertaker's brother? What?
They need to write that sitcom.
Yeah.
Raising Kane.
Raising Kane. Well, they did Raising Hope.
Yeah, right? Let's see. So, yeah, the May 1997, the Kane storyline begins. It was right after the whole Bret Shawn thing, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it was right after that, kind of like leading them in so that way they would have Kane debut and set up the Survivor Series match of Bret and Shawn. So they needed someone to beat Undertaker or attack Undertaker so that Shawn could win in the Hell in a Cell.
So so they move Shawn and Taker over, and then Shawn and Bret is ultimately what they wanted at WrestleMania 12 for the Iron Man match, right? Or am I mistaken?
At 12, yeah.
Yeah, so that's what they were setting up. So they were trying to set up Kane, Taker, and Bret, Shawn, right? Or am I wrong on that one?
I think your timeline's off.
Okay.
Because the Iron Man was 1996, and this is end of 97.
Okay. Were they trying to set up the? They were trying to set up the rematch then, right?
They were trying. So the rematch was supposed to happen at 13, but Shawn lost his smile, and that was where Taker won the title from Sid. Then he loses it to Bret, which sets up the SummerSlam match where he loses it to Bret, and then that sets up the storyline of Taker versus Shawn for Ground Zero. Then he gets a title shot against Bret. I think they have a match at some point on Raw. Maybe in Triple Threat. I could be wrong. Don't quote me. Then they move on to the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view where Kane finally makes his debut.
It's Shawn and Taker at Bad Blood, right?
Yeah, and Bret Hart wins like a tag team match at nothing. It was like a nothing tag team match just to keep the belt on Bret, so that it was guaranteed to be Bret versus the winner of Shawn or Undertaker at Survivor Series.
Okay. Yeah. So like you mentioned, Kane comes out. Kane challenges Undertaker. Undertaker won't face him.
That's gotta be Kane. They actually WWE Network I don't know. I just saw that they had WWE Untold Stories. It's got to be Kane. Just dropped the other night. I don't know if it's a new one or not, but
I think it was newish.
Yeah,
it just came out.
That's gonna be a fun watch when I get a chance to check that one out.
This Shawn beating Taker also leads to a casket, not the first ever, but a casket match between Taker and Shawn. I think this is where Shawn breaks his ass, and this will lead to his back injury.
He does like it was supposed to be a back body drop where I think he was supposed to miss the casket and land on his feet and fall forward, but he didn't get enough height and his lower back smashed onto the corner, and that ultimately led to everything happening
with his back.
With his back and missing 4 years.
So yeah, they have a casket match. I forgot exactly how Shawn wins, but Kane comes out and lights it on fire.
Everybody comes out and attacks Undertaker. The lights go out. Kane comes out, and Kane saves the Undertaker. And it's like they're gonna stand arm in arm and fight as brothers. And then Kane chokeslams the Undertaker, rolls him into the casket, wheels it up, or locks it, wheels it up to the entrance, lights it on fire, or attacks with an axe first, then lights gasoline,
and
lights on fire.
They still had not fought to this point, right?
No, because he refused to fight his brother, and this was the final thing. Like,
this breaks the camel's back for Taker.
There's a Raw that happens in February, and it's awesome because Kane just comes out, choke slams the Hardys, Flash Funk, any enhancement talent, you name it. He just comes out, choke slams them all the time. Fights Mankind at Survivor Series and destroys them, and then comes out at Royal Rumble to attack Taker. Nothing much happens. Kane comes out, makes his statements of attacking other people, and then finally Undertaker says, "I will fight you at WrestleMania," which sets up a match we've broken down, which we both discovered the other night. Pretty solid match. It extends the streak. Give the brother versus brother wasn't the best of their two WrestleMania matches. I think their 21 was better, but it definitely was a good story. It leads forward to the Inferno match.
So now he's 7, and this will lead to the Inferno match after he beats Kane at WrestleMania. It leads to this is the first ever Inferno match too, right?
Yeah, and
he lights Kane's hand on fire from them, if I remember right.
Yeah,
so it was weird, right? Like he just
they're fighting in the ring. They're fighting in the ring, and Undertaker clotheslines him over, and he just goes over the ring. I could be wrong. I feel like he clotheslines on Kane, and then he jumps over the top rope because Kane's on the outside. How are you going to get to him? You can't walk through. And this might have been one of the. No, he did try that before. Jumps over the top rope, takes down Kane, and then they battle. They're punching. Undertaker finally lands a punch, and Kane back lands into the fire, and his very swollen arm lights on fire. It's almost like there was like padding or something. I don't know, but his one arm was severely
And it
swollen.
was the one that he has all sleeved up, right? Because he's got naked on one hand, but he's sleeved up on the other. That's his suit. Pretty sure it was the sleeved hand. Yeah, there had to be.
I was gonna say that. I don't remember because he's had a couple of matches where he had the two sleeves. But I think you're right. I think he still had the one sleeve. But yeah, it was so padded up, and you go back and you watch it, you're like, of course, man.
Fuck yeah.
So so it continues on, and this is going to lead us then into the 1998 King of the Ring. This is where Mankind kind of comes back into the rivalry.
And we have the Hell in a Cell match that we've definitely broken it down.
At the King of the Ring, we talked about the King of the Ring show we did a couple of weeks back.
With the best of the King of the Ring. So go, if you want to check that out, we broke that match down. But yeah.
In a match that I don't even know how they survived. I don't know how they let part 1 happen, let alone after part 2, they let it continue. They had said, sure, you want to finish? Try booking that today.
Nope. WrestleMania 1999. Am I skipping over anything, Ryan? He goes on. He goes to go 8-0.
So after this one is where he goes on to an amazing, one of my favorite, but it sucks SummerSlam matches where there's this tease this entire time of Kane and Undertaker. Are they working together? This happened at that King of the Ring. It happened throughout the summer. Undertaker sends Kane away at the SummerSlam match. Again, when Undertaker fights Austin, Austin eventually wins by the stunner. Undertaker does the nice guy leave, but come back and hand the title. And then Undertaker and Kane both pin Austin, which leads to Undertaker versus Kane for the title. Austin's the referee. Austin has to call it down the middle or he's fired. Austin stuns one, stuns the other, counts 1, 2, 3, and your winner, Stone Cold. Austin gets fired. There's still no champion. That takes you into Survivor Series, where Undertaker and Kane are revealed to not be working together, but Paul Bearer rejoins Undertaker, and that leads into the beginning of the Ministry of Darkness. So now you're going to start seeing Viscera, Mideon, the Brood joins in. Acolyte, all those guys start coming in. Royal Rumble, I don't recall too much, but this is WrestleMania 15, which is him versus Bossman in a Hell in a Cell.
That's where he hangs him? No.
Yeah.
Is this the match?
It's a bad match overall. It didn't work. Their styles clashed. Bossman was too old. He was too hurt. And
fat. You could say
and when the Brood came down and helped Undertaker hang the Boss Man when they rose the cage, it was so obvious that there was like gimmicks in the back. Like his shoulders were too high up. Like they didn't do things right. It was just a terrible beginning to end. The storyline was great, but it just didn't work. So then you're gonna get into the ministries. Gonna join up. They join up with the corporation. Vince McMahon's kind of on the outskirts at this time, and this is 99, right? Yeah. So he's on the outskirts at this time, McMahon, and it's the corporate ministry. So you have like Triple H and Shane McMahon. All these guys are with the Ministry of Darkness, which is a pretty solid little tandem. This is where you get the higher power. It's Vince McMahon.
It was me, Austin. It was me all along.
Now, this is something I don't know 1,000% about, but this is where Undertaker gets hurt.
Yeah, he had a hip replacement.
And he's going to be out for a while, but he wants to be on the mic still to kind of sell his character, blah, 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 blah. But it's also where the Undertaker, the dead man, dies, and the Undertaker, the American Badass, begins. And do you know the rumor innuendo? I haven't heard this from Bruce Pritchard's podcast. I've just read this online on a couple different forums and different websites. You know why the American Badass came to be?
No.
So, apparently it was a combination injury and contract negotiations. And it was going to be the Undertaker, the American Badass was actually not going to be the Undertaker, American Badass. It was going to be Mark Calloway, the American Badass, as he jumped ship to WCW as a biker.
Oh, so he was going to take off to WCW?
Yeah, and he had started debuting this character slowly into WWE as a transition as to why he's talking more, and then he's going to be off camera, and when he appears on other network, that's why he was doing it. Re-signs with WWF, everything gets all figured out, blah, blah, blah. And it was Judgment Day, Triple H versus The Rock when he makes his comeback and back on camera, and he's American Badass. And he's still got the long hair, but it's red, and he's rocking the biker gimmick. But yeah, apparently the whole start was supposedly he was going to jump ship, and that was going to be his WCW gimmick. And instead, he stayed put, and they figured, hey, let's roll with what we have. And I'm not going to lie, I kind of like this Undertaker.
I don't know why the American Badass Undertaker gets a lot of hate. I think we needed a break.
I think it's because the Dead Man thing, but look what happens with John Cena can't go 30 years without something happening. John Cena can come back from acting and be John Cena, but the Undertaker can't just go 30 straight years. Like, there had to be something that split it up, and I feel like this was a very crucial time because it gave us a different guy, and it gave us a different run, and it set up the rebirth.
It was the same guy with a different feel, and like I mentioned, I think we needed it. He wanted it. This character gets a lot of hate, maybe because there just wasn't a lot of key moments. Maybe this one would be one of the bigger ones because it was a WrestleMania match with the H.
I look at my wife, and she always says she stopped watching. My wife's not anything like me when it comes to wrestling. She may have seen it and known it, but when she saw the Undertaker with the mic and the getup, she always says, "Oh God, that's not the Undertaker. The Undertaker that I remember was like the Dead Man." And like, I get that. And so if you were like 8, 9, you tuned in, and then you're 13, 14, 15, you tune in, I get why you might not like it as much. I understand that for sure. But at the same time, I always dug this gimmick. And the WrestleMania matches with A-Train and Big Show, and I can really just brush over this whole thing. He wins the Undisputed Championship from Hulk Hogan to put because I guess you can go back and listen to the Bruce Pritchard show, people. There's a huge thing about Undertaker and Hogan and that title change from 91. Undisputed title change was I guess to make it official. That was about it. This was such a quick gimmick. Like, they didn't really utilize it that much. He had a little invasion spot. I'm gonna go on record and say that the only WrestleMania match that I watched live that I really loved, that I went back and watched and was disappointed on, was actually the one that I picked.
Which one?
It's the one with Triple H.
This one? You didn't like it?
You know, I didn't remember it the way.
I thought it was better than my Kane Taker match that I picked.
Honestly, I watched this one, and it's not the way I remember. I remember it so differently, and it's been a while since I watched it, and I was like, oh, man, it was such a badass match. Like, it was no holds barred. There was this, it was that. And then I'm like, oh, there were holds barred.
Oh, yeah, it was.
Like, this was like a regular match that just kind of, and the finish for me fell flat, and we'll break it down in a few seconds. But a lot of the match that I remember liking, I ended up kind of like being like, when I watched it this time, and it kind of hurt me because I remember loving. I mean, I got like X7 Undertaker, like that. You know what I mean? Like, he sits beside me on the computer every time we do the show. Like, I love this Taker. I love everything about it. But this match was just like, oh God, it hurt me. Like,
Oh yeah, well I got Chewbacca, you bastard. How about that one?
Me. I'll take my shirt off and you'll see Chewbacca.
You don't got to threaten me with a good time, Ryan. But yeah, no. So the match you picked was American Badass Undertaker versus Triple H. Triple H, sorry. WrestleMania 17 in a regular match.
And here's what I will tell you right now: the best part of this entire match. We are Motorhead, and we're gonna kick your ass.
Yeah, so they had Motorhead start off.
Oh, I love when I saw
intro
the
for
there.
yeah. And then Undertaker gets to ride his bike down to the ring.
How about Triple H has one of his iconic entrances and still gives the other guy an iconic entrance? Normally, the other guy's just like, I have 30 seconds to run down there.
Yeah. Sorry, I have it on in the background.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're kind of just going back and forth, having a regular match, and then they go to the outside.
Like Taker really starts going though after a while. Like Taker really takes advantage in the match for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, kind of. What? Sorry, I'll let you. Do they go back and forth and then go back in the ring and then back out to the crowd?
So what happens is they kind of exchange their movesets a little bit, and then they go out to the crowd, and they go out to the middle of the crowd where apparently the ref is like, hey, I'm not going to count anymore because I want the match to continue for you guys. So they go out to some scaffolding that's kind of like in the middle of the crowd, and they start fighting on the top of it, which it has like a upper layer to it. And they start going back and forth.
Kind of like where Shane fought The Miz at WrestleMania this year. That kind of scaffolding thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Just more in the crowd. Like it was like directly in the middle of the crowd.
Yeah, and it wasn't as big.
Mm-hmm.
And also they were able to get into the crowd so deep because Undertaker just kicks the referee and then elbow drops the referee, and they're like, "You can't do that." And then there's no disqualification because I feel like that's how Taker rolls. You can disqualify Undertaker.
No, fuck that. So he chokes slams Triple H off of that scaffolding thing, which looks pretty cool. You can see how it's gimmicked up.
Yeah.
I think Taker even jumps down at him at one point, I think.
Well, after it gives, like the cloth kind of goes in. You can see like the white stripping around it, and you're like, come on.
The foam, yeah, you see the foam. After that, they go back into the ring where once Triple H gets the advantage, he pulls out a sledgehammer, which will become part of the match later on, because Triple H goes in to try to use it, but the ref takes it away.
And like I pointed out before, leads to the resilient big boot.
Yeah, yep. Leads to the Undertaker's big boot. Undertaker at one point tries to use it too, as Triple H is begging him not to, and the ref takes it from him.
And he hits him with the low blow.
Oh, no, yeah, the ref doesn't take him because the ref is out. He hits him with the low blow because he's like, nah, don't hit me. And Undertaker's like, should I hit him? He low blows him and drops the sledgehammer. They exchange some offense again, but what I really remember was the ending of the match where Taker's the sledgehammer spot where Taker's gonna go for the power bomb. Last ride. And Triple H takes the sledgehammer up with him as he's going up for the last ride. When Taker lifts him up, he bashes him in the head, which will split him open, and we get the blood. We get some color.
Which, I didn't realize how often he's done that spot, because I've seen him go up and gets hit with a chair. In another match that you pick, he gets hit with the urn.
Mm-hmm.
This is when it's like he does that spot well, where it's like, how do you not see? Like even the commentators, you see the sledgehammer laying there, and you see Triple H grab it and pull it, and it kind of like taps Undertaker's foot, and it's like, dude, if you're gonna do something, why wouldn't you look at your foot first? Like, come on.
Yeah, no, he wanted to get hit, bro.
I think this is where the match kind of fell apart for me too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, after this, it kind of.
I dig the kick out, and I dig all of that, but then when Taker's getting pummeled, 1, 2, 3, and then he and just drops him, and I'm like, like aside from the chloroform for his third win, I don't remember how the A Train and
Couldn't have gone good.
Big Show match went, but I think this was only the second time that he doesn't win by Tombstone. He might have won one by the Hell's Gate later on with Edge, but I feel like he's always Tombstone. Now it's like last ride, and such a weak last ride. It's like drops him. I'm like, okay, now you're gonna 1-2 kick out, 1-2-3. I'm like, oh, that's not how I was so upset. Like, I'm happy that I watched it because I got to like relive a bit of my childhood and I got to experience it in a different way. But it was just like that went so much different than it did, and it's heartbreaking, you know.
It is what it is, Ryan.
It is, you know.
So he picks up the win against Triple H at WrestleMania 17, 9-0 now. Like I said, if you guys want us to talk more about the American Badass, just let us know. We could break down that more. But you got anything between this, Ryan? WrestleMania 18, 17?
Yeah, like I said, like he's gonna win the title. He's gonna feud with Brock. He's going to, I think he might go down to the final two in a Royal Rumble before losing to Brock. He's gonna lose a Hell in a Cell to. He has a good rivalry with Brock. I'm not gonna keep on saying his name. There is a rivalry with Brock that was pretty good. There was a lot of points where he was, I think it was Nathan Jones, it was, just some guy, like a convict turned wrestler, turned something.
The Australian dude, the bald guy.
Yeah.
He was in Tam Yang Gang.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. He has a thing with him where they're like teammates. He ends up having this random feud with Maven, who was a school teacher who wins Tough Enough 1. And it's just these random things.
Hardcore championship run.
Yeah, there just wasn't as much. Like he was there. Like I said, the invasion. He gets the tag titles. Kane turns on him during a Edge and Christian match, and then they're teammates again. And they are, and then they're during the invasion. He's part of like Kane, Austin, Jericho, and Kurt Angle at the invasion one, and then at the Survivor Series. He was with Jericho, Kane, Rock, and Kurt Angle to save WWF from the invasion. And it basically just leads to that buried alive match between Taker and Vince, where Kane comes out and buries the Undertaker. And it's going to set up, to me, I said this to you, I may have had a little bit of the devil's dandruff. No. I may have partaken in the devil's lettuce. And I sat down to watch this match. It's one of my favorite Undertaker entrances. And as I hit play, and all you hear is, oh, yeah. A fucking bolt of lightning and a crash of thunder just lit up my living room. It was nighttime. It's pitch dark. I'm just watching wrestling, and this happens. I'm just like, I just shit myself a minute. I right away, I'm like, Raph won't believe me, but like, this is stupid. The fuck, as a massive thunderstorm, like it just. As I'm watching this, I'm like, I can't handle this right now. I'm not in the right state of mind.
People complain about pyro. Be in the stadium when they have fucking pyro, or be in the Rosemont Arena. It is not fun, dude. Kids are crying. And I'm like,
how about pyro? The Undertaker was lit on fire in one of his entrances later on down the road. No, but yeah, like I was not in the right state of mind for that thunderstorm to start, and it was just perfect timing as Undertaker makes his entrance. Oh yes, thunder actually hits the stage, and it hits like my window just turns blue. A crash of thunder. I'm like, where's Raph? I'm like, Raph, you won't believe this shit.
The Undertaker's in my house, bro. Like I can't break this shit down.
I'm not doing this no more. Yeah, I quit.
Can we choose someone else? Can we pick number 2 on the poll?
Yeah. No, but
we forgot to mention. Thanks for people that voted on the poll. This was this is who you guys picked. The Undertaker. I don't know who the second was. I think it was The Rock or something like that.
I think The Rock, and there was a.
I didn't vote. I should have voted, but I didn't vote.
I didn't see the need to. I shared it and figured my people can help.
You know what?
My people didn't vote.
We might have to do Eddie Guerrero next.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that.
Let's see.
So this is WrestleMania 20, baby.
Oh yeah, so this is A-Train and Big Show.
No, WrestleMania 20. This is Kane.
Oh yeah, sorry.
We're done. We've said badass. See you later.
So this is his kind of new reiteration of the Dead Man. Not really. Kind of like he's got that weird
No,
hat.
when he walks out and he had that long hat,
Brimmed,
and
yeah.
he just turns his head. I remember watching this with my brother live, and when he walked out, I remember getting goosebumps. And all joking aside, like thunderstorm and whatever, like watching it the other night when he came out, I still got that same feeling. Like, I remember watching this and just seeing him. I'm like, oh, they fucking yes, they brought like it's like you get a rush of adrenaline from the excitement of the event. You have your childhood coming back in a different way. It was so much happening, and then he takes his hat off and he has this little bob, and you're like, oh, that's right, he did have short hair when he went away 2 months ago, so his hair won't be long yet.
Yeah, because for the Triple H match that you did pick, he had long hair, and then he went evil, and then cut it during this
Yeah,
time.
Big Evil.
Oh, yeah,
He went Big Evil. Yeah, and he shaved his, or not shaved his head, but went to like the Caesar style haircut thing.
Yeah, and they're like, bring it back, and he's like, well, I gotta go away and grow my hair. If you want,
You have 2 months. Make it happen.
yeah. Get it done, you bastard, you big bastard.
Yeah, and also, and I won't jump too far ahead, but I love Kane when the Undertaker's standing there. He's like,
oh yeah. So
you're
yeah,
not real.
the
You're
match
not
starts
real.
because I guess Kane
thinks he killed the Undertaker.
Yeah, he beat him in a buried alive match, right?
No, Vince. It was Vincent Taker, and he buried the Undertaker to give Vince the win. But he it was his way of turning heel and saying that he killed his brother, kind of thing.
So now we get the newish Undertaker, I guess, a new reiteration, kind of
the rebirth.
Yeah, rebirth of the Dead Man. I'm not gonna lie, I thought your match was better just because it had the whole spot with him and Taker on the scaffolding and the.
Oh, you know what? I did skip one important American Badass match. Sorry, I just saw. He actually had a pretty fun match with Ric Flair in a no holds barred match. Arn Anderson gets involved and he does beat Ric Flair. Flair bleeds. I think that was the one at 19 before the buried alive match. Sorry to cut you off, but go back and watch that Ric Flair, because that Ric Flair Undertaker match is kind of fun. I'm not mad at that match. That's the one. That's one I'll pick next time when we do the Badass era.
The American with the ball, the bang and thing.
No, we'll do Limp Bizkit.
That's what you want. That's what you
Kid
want.
Rock. No, we want Limp Bizkit, not Kid Rock. I like my Southern white trash, not my Northern white trash. But yeah, so this match starts with Kane, and just as Kane's about to touch the Undertaker, like he's like, "You're not real, I killed you."
Yeah, I killed
and
you.
as he's about to touch him, and Taker just pop, 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 and it seems like he works him for like 20 minutes, but it's probably like closer to like 4 or 5 minutes of just like working Kane and just really doing some damage. Before Kane starts getting his momentum back and starts moving again and getting his stuff happening.
Yeah. It was kind of so it's kind of a weird match for me because it was kind of a big man versus a big man match, and not that it was bad. It was an actual good match between two big men. It was just a lot of similar moves, and I guess it's because it's Kane and Undertaker. I get it. They have very similar skill set or move sets. They're both big men, and they're both very agile. I just thought it was going to be better.
There was, I liked it because it was, for me, a lot of fun to see that match. I liked the story when I was 13 years old, and here I am now. What was that? I was probably 19, I think it was. I think it was 6 years later. Yeah, 14 to 20. Yeah, so 6 years later. So now I'm like more of an adult. I've kind of like I'm out of like that gimmicky stage, and I thought it was good. Like Kane's different. He's unmasked now. He's a bad guy again, and instead of having to want to fight the Undertaker is issuing challenges without being on TV, and like Kane went into WrestleMania to fight Undertaker, and it was announced, but the Undertaker had not been seen on TV since being buried alive, which is kind of a cool premise. Like I said, at 14, he came out and said, "I will fight you, Kane." Here, he never did.
Mm-hmm.
There was things that kind of told the audience that it was going to happen. And it was the good match. You didn't need to have Kane be the unbeatable monster because he'd been champion and lost a title. He'd won this title and lost. He'd been pinned. He'd had losses. Now he was just another guy. He's a monster, but he is a beatable monster. So you can get away with just the one choke slam. You can get away with the one tombstone. And the way that they went back and forth, they both got their little moves in, like they always have to. But I found the story was better because it flowed better. You didn't need a tombstone and a kick out and then more action, a tombstone, a kick out, more action. Here it was a little bit of action, a choke slam. Can he finish a tombstone? It's over. Like he's proven, like, listen, Kane, I'm your big brother. You cannot beat me in my backyard.
And maybe the reason I didn't enjoy it as much is because it's wrapped around some of his even better matches with smaller guys, and they do so much more. I even threw in a weapons match in the Hell in a Cell, and this was just kind of a regular blue collar match between two big guys, and they're both gonna do their thing.
I will put. I would probably put this as the greatest WrestleMania entrance.
For Taker?
Overall. There have been some good ones. Shawn Michaels has had some. John Cena's had a couple fun ones. The pop when he walks out, I remember hearing and I remember feeling it. And I felt the same way I felt when I was 19. I felt 15 years ago, I felt the same pop I felt this weekend. Mm-hmm. And there was that something that he's back. Like, and like I said at the beginning of our show, like how he's the greatest gimmick. When he brought that gimmick back, the people were like, yes.
That's my hot take, Ryan. All right.
And that you said one of the best. I said the best, but what? No, but I mean, like, remember when Hogan came back in WCW? Yeah, no one does. People remember when Hogan turned to WCW, but people remember when The Undertaker came back. And that's what, to me, stands out. They remember when The Undertaker went from the badass to being The Undertaker again. And I feel like that entrance alone took that match up because it was like you're not just seeing the badass doing The Undertaker's moves. You're seeing the dead man doing The Undertaker's moves. And that, I feel like, it just added to more authenticity, if you would, of this matchup. And it finished off the storyline and pushed forward and into bigger and better things with The Undertaker.
12-0, Undertaker. WrestleMania 20. He continues the dead man thing. I don't know how active he is during this whole run, but the year after this, he goes on to defeat Randy Orton at WrestleMania 21, where he has a kind of a good rivalry. A lot of people thought Randy Orton might have ended the feud because he was the legend killer at the time. His dad was managing him at the time.
And he gets the win eventually, right?
Yeah, Randy does get the win eventually, just not at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I remember I wanted to pick a Randy Orton match because I remember the WrestleMania match. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't remember where Randy Orton beats him, if it was SummerSlam. And I wanted to really look at the match before I picked it, so I just kind of went by memory of some matches, which unfortunately, but
this is what Wikipedia says. I don't know if it's true. The first time Undertaker was challenged explicitly to end the streak, this was also known where the streak was given its name. WrestleMania 21, apparently.
But at WrestleMania 20, they had on the graphics 11-0. If you go back and watch it, they definitely have an undefeated record counted. I remember seeing it in the Kane match for sure. Okay. They might have had it in the Triple H one. I don't remember that one as well in the crowd or that. But the Kane one, I remember seeing 12-0 and 11-0 signs and stuff plastered. The fun thing, a lot of what we're about to talk about, I don't know.
Oh, well, that's because he's in and out a lot. I don't know a lot of this either because he's in and out for a lot of this.
I started working a lot more around this time, so I kind of lost touch with a lot of wrestling around this time. So I know like the WrestleManias. I always watch the WrestleManias and and like as many pay-per-views as I could. But a lot of the rivalries that happened this time, like this would have been 2004, so this would have been around the time that he was feuding. Nope, sorry, oh, sorry, you said Randy Orton, right? So we're at 2005
Yeah.
now. So this was the summer of the London bombings, where that happened on I don't know how many days prior to Muhammad Hassan's character having
So
henchmen come out
yeah,
and
so they taped it, and it was supposed to air Thursday. So they taped it Tuesday, and then the bombings happened Wednesday, and they talked to UPN, and UPN's like, "We're just gonna air it with a disclaimer in the beginning that we filmed it beforehand." So they aired it. They got backlash anyway because of the bombings. So they got rid of the character. So I'm guessing this is what led to Mark Henry at WrestleMania.
that's still
Far
a
away.
while before. Yeah, this was the summer. That was until the following April. What was Mark Henry? That was 22.
Yeah.
So Undertaker. So
He
might have had the feud with JB. No, that would have been at the 21. So he would have had a feud with Batista a little bit around this time. 2005. Yeah, I'm drawing so many blanks. I'm sorry. 2005. Yeah, he would have fought with Batista probably over the title a little bit. Oh, he might have fought. Oh, this is the SummerSlam. Sorry, I'm thinking 2001 and WrestleMania 21. Sorry, this was the summer where he fought JBL for the title, and he chokeslams JBL through the limo roof at the end of the match.
Okay.
He loses by disqualification.
Like,
yeah, then he has a lot of.
this is a lot of major stuff.
He just goes storyline. Like he kind of bounces around. I feel like because a lot of the Undertaker stuff was give him a summer rivalry, give him something to lead into WrestleMania. I feel like that's what started happening with him.
To do it more justice, if we want to, I say we break it down in a future episode.
I was gonna say, like, at this point of his career, to be honest, I am not that knowledgeable that if you want to just jump match to match at this point, and then we can kind of go back in later episode or in future episodes, and we can talk about things because I can't really break down a lot at this point.
Yeah,
so...
yeah, we can do that. Yeah, because let's see. Then what would the next match be? So
would it be Edge?
So he beats Mark Henry at 22. Edge won't be till 2008, so he beats Batista at
23 for the title.
Yeah,
24 he beats Edge for the title.
And this is the one
at 25. Oh yeah, so
I picked Edge versus Undertaker
so
at
SummerSlam, right?
Yeah,
or
SummerSlam, Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, so this would have been after the WrestleMania thing. So yeah, you're right. Yeah,
no, it was.
And Vicky Guerrero was about to divorce Edge.
Yeah. So she's sicking the Undertaker pretty much on Edge, and this is like a third of their major matches, like in their top matches for both of them. They're both up there. I picked it because I've never really given Edge a chance. I took off to college in 2007, so I was not even watching wrestling at this time. I was joining the fraternity.
Yeah, so you're kind of like me in this sense, where a lot of this stuff is new to you when you watch this era.
Yeah.
I was the same way.
This is why I picked this match because I want to see Edge. Jesus is giving me shit because I don't give Edge the respect he deserves, I guess.
I always wanted Edge to be the next Bret Hart.
Yeah.
But I never believed in Edge, but every time I saw like his Mick Foley matches, his ladder matches and stuff like that, like he was an entertaining guy, and I don't know, I just never bought him for one reason or another. I loved him. I was like, awesome, a Canadian's making it, but I never really believed in what he was doing.
The storyline was kind of weird with him and Vicky. I get what it was, but it was just kind of weird where he was.
He was always kind of put into these like womanizing roles, like his real life, like he cheats on his wife numerous times in real life, and then storyline happens, like, so I can see what's like, but he was with Lita, now he's with, like, why is he ruining marriages and stealing wives and widows, like every single time, like he kind of fell into that weird gimmick of like a womanizer.
Yeah.
Just kind of killed his career and his run.
Yeah. This match, I want to say it starts off slow, but I mean in terms of the match in its entirety. Like they go
Yeah,
right off the bat, they go at it, but they start introducing aspects into the match, like the stairs
building
are used at
table.
first a lot. Yeah,
Yeah,
the stairs are used a lot at first, and once Edge gets the advantage, he started introducing the tables because that's more his forte with the ladders and the chairs, and that starts getting brought into the match by Edge.
I just really. Oh no, sorry. Yeah, no, yeah. Like this, I was thinking later in the match. Sorry, I skipped way ahead in my brain.
So Edge sets up two tables pretty early on, which aren't going to get used till later on, but that's
They
kind of
tease
out
it a
there.
lot
Yeah,
though.
yeah,
The Undertaker teases it a lot early on.
yeah. So those two tables are going to be out there for a while as a nice little teaser. Some spots that I want to fucking talk about were where Edge. What is he? I forget what he says to the Undertaker. I'm 100% in on this or something like that, and he like does an elbow drop with the chair off of the ladder.
He has him on the table, and he
Mhm.
climbs the ladder, and he has the chair, and he does an elbow drop driving the chair.
But he says
into the
something. I forget. It's like something weird, crazy.
He's like I'm all in, or I'm willing. I'll do what it takes. Like something like he's saying like no matter what the dead man wants to do,
Mm-hmm.
he will go further, and like he's all in.
Yeah.
He's AEW before the AEW.
So yeah, they're kind of
1 week.
yeah. It's gonna start. I didn't even know how close it was, man. So SmackDown's moving already to Fox. It's not even. It's not on Tuesdays anymore. That's it. This Tuesday's no SmackDown.
Yesterday.
This
Or
was the last one.
That was last. Oh yeah, so yeah, because they're already promoting Brock Lesnar versus Seth Rollins. Oops.
No, versus Kofi. Wait, are they doing Seth Rollins?
I've heard that they're gonna drop the title to Brock, and the Fiend's gonna lose, and it's gonna be Seth and Brock,
At Survivor
champion
Series.
versus,
Yeah.
champion versus champion. Remember how a couple months ago it was gonna be Seth versus Kofi, winner takes all? Now they're talking Seth and Brock, winner take all.
Brock.
Yeah.
Well, they wouldn't mind putting the title on Brock.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to see what happens next week.
Yeah, no, so these guys actually have a pretty good match. The Undertaker takes over for a while, like I said, with the stairs. Then Edge comes back, introducing a lot more aspects of the of weapons.
Cage.
Dude, he
Yeah.
he lands some nice chair shots on Taker.
I was surprised. Like I watched this on the network, and I was surprised that they like some of them when he goes to hit him with a chair, it's just like, and it's over. Like it's like a slow motion, and then it stops, and then again the next one though they actually like I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. They don't want to show a chair shot, so it's slow pause, and then whatever. I get it. But then you see the next one, and it's like, what? Pow! I'm like, oh, they
No,
don't care. Never mind.
Yeah, no,
Like,
some of them
like,
were pretty legit.
like the network blanks on some of them, but doesn't blank on all of them, which I thought was a bizarre thing to do. But I mean, whatever. They're the network.
Yeah. Edge jumps at the under. Well, they're on the outside. I forgot to mention that they're on the outside. Edge jumps at the Undertaker, and they bust through the cage.
Has the camera been involved yet?
I
I think the camera comes after because they have to be outside the ring to get the camera. I think.
What do they do with the camera spot?
The camera spot was in reference to Kane using the camera to beat the Undertaker the previous year at Survivor Series, but then Undertaker kicks out and uses it at the end, kind of when he's paying back Edge for everything that Edge did. But the camera gets brought in at one point, regardless.
Sorry, I got kind of confused because earlier there was a camera spot which I thought was accidental with Bret and Taker. A little callback to one of the matches we were breaking down.
Oh, sorry, no,
Yeah.
yeah, no. Edge uses the camera and because Kane had used it the previous year in a Hell in a Cell, and it ends up being like Taker kicks out, but they had brought the camera back in, and I wasn't sure if this was. I think Edge goes through the, yeah. So anyway, they burst through the cage.
Mm-hmm. Which will lead to the spots on the outside.
Some hard spots.
They break the fucking Spanish announce table accidentally. They weren't going for it, and it snaps.
No, yeah.
But it's a cheap table. It's not even the padded one. I don't think they were. I don't think they were going to break it.
You ask Mexicans, hey, we got to build a table. They're building theirs. You build yours. Like it's all good.
Build that
Breaks.
wall. Build that.
If you want a table, you got to get one of those red-blooded Americans, right, Ref?
Yep.
No, I joke.
I
We joke with
kid.
this
I
all the time.
kid.
I love the Spanish announce table breaking. It's the dumbest gimmick ever, but like you said, there's like it just breaks.
Dude, I don't think there was. I don't think it was supposed to break, and it broke.
Yeah, no,
This
no,
will not break. It broke. From
yeah,
11.
yeah, like this was supposed to be the spear. The spear was like there were some spots with the Spanish announce table in the past and in the future that we will probably talk about where it just gives out for no reason.
Like when the Undertaker was stepping on in King of the Ring against Mankind, where he steps onto the top of the cage and his foot goes through, and you're like, oh shit, the snap broke.
I was thinking more like Triple H has Kurt Angle, and he has him locked in the pedigree, and he goes, ready, we're gonna jump. 1, 2, and as they both put their weight down to jump, it breaks because they put their weight down. It was like, whoops.
Bye,
Spanish announce table.
Yeah, so this time they kind of just break it.
Was that the spear gimmick where it broke, or was that?
Actually, I'm wrong about the cheap table. You're right about it being the Spanish table that they break through, but this is the spot where Taker, where Taker gets speared all sick through the Spanish announce table.
And they don't do this one enough. This is one of those ones that they kind of save.
They've done it with Roman.
With Roman, yeah, they did it with Roman. I think they did it with. They didn't do it with Goldberg, but they do it randomly, and when they do it, it works.
This is probably the best one too.
It's not slamming someone through the cage; it's spearing them off one table onto the next table and through that table.
To be honest, it's probably the favorite one I've seen. The Undertaker sells the spear very well. They crash. Yeah. It's beautiful. It's art. It's art how they do it. They land it right. They're both safe even after they fucking hit it, and they can sell a nice spot. I don't know too much else.
They get back in the ring. Taker goes to do the last right through the table. Edge reverses it, hits a spear. Taker kind of goes on his little thing where he choke slam off the top rope through the two tables. Edge comes back in. He gets hit with a spear. He gets hit with the TV camera. Undertaker hits Edge with the spear. Hits Edge with the TV camera. Chokeslam tombstone finish of the match. And as he's walking away, he's looking at the screen. He's going to do his arm up, little salute that he does. And he sees the Edge is starting to move. So he's like, oh, fuck, I got to go. And the announcers said that Edge said that he was going to drag Undertaker to hell. And so Taker figures, well, he wants to go to hell. He does this amazing move where he has the ladder stacked and he puts Edge into the powerbomb position. As he lifts him up and he goes to hike him for the last ride, he tosses him onto the cage over his face, climbs up and gives a choke slam, and he goes through the ring for an awesome spot to send Edge down to hell.
He actually gets a submission win on this one.
I thought it was a pinfall. Wasn't it a tombstone?
No, so I forget exactly how he gets the submission in, but even on here it says submission. But he does send. You're right on him sending Edge to hell. So what happens is he leaves, and as he's leaving, he looks up at the Titantron and he sees Edge moving. So then he turns around and puts Edge on the ladder. Then he gets on the ladder, and then he chokeslams Edge through the ring, and then he lights it on fire. But he comes back and does that. Because I remember him looking up at the badass.
He had left to do his goodbyes and do his little fist up. I could have swore I'm drawing a weird blank on why I thought that it was a submission pinfall. But regardless,
I think it's the Hell's Gate that he lands.
Yeah, he definitely locks in the Hell's Gate a couple of times, or at least once. But I don't remember him winning by.
No, yeah, Tombstone Pile Driver ends the match.
What? Why is mine saying submission? Is Wikipedia wrong?
I'm on Wikipedia. The Tombstone Pile Driver ended the match with.
You know what? You're right. I'm looking at the fucking
Death.
streak.
Oh, okay, yeah, that was WrestleMania 24.
I'm looking at the
tapped
streak,
out
not at
24.
SummerSlam 2008.
Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
you're right. Sorry on my part. I'm over here like, no, Ryan. All right, he choked him out. Okay, he choked him.
I'm going off of memory. That's
Yeah.
the worst part. Like,
Did we
so
mention
now-
how he put him through the two tables? So Edge is trying to go for a top rope
oh,
move.
right, yeah. So
and
that's what
chokeslammed
started
him,
his rebound was chokeslam through two tables. Then the camera shot the spear, the chokeslam, the tombstone,
Edge,
and then
or
the
sorry,
chokeslam.
Taker,
Never mind.
Taker lands a badass fucking spear of his own.
Yeah. Oh, he hit yeah.
Yeah, but no. So you're right. He wins, but then he comes back because Edge is moving around, and he chokeslams him in that spot in the corner, and then lights it on fire, and then we get the reaction from Vicky Guerrero and her family in the back. And that's at SummerSlam, not WrestleMania, which he eventually goes 16-0 against Edge at WrestleMania.
That was before this one.
Yeah, 24. So before that.
So now we go to WrestleMania 25.
Yeah, versus Shawn Michaels, your pick. Michaels comes down with an angelic music and stuff. And then
this whole story was beautiful. Like, honestly, if you're a wrestling fan and you haven't seen the build up to this match, you have to at least watch like the 5-6 minute promo to kind of get like an idea, because they piece things together beautifully for this rivalry in this match.
It's an awesome match. They started off kind of slow and they build gradually, adding more and more elements into the match, telling a fantastic story of Michaels and the Undertaker. And these guys have had some badass matches and some good rivalries throughout. And seeing them here is pretty awesome.
I actually argued when I heard that Undertaker never beat Shawn one-on-one leading into this. And I knew that there had been disqualifications and there had been stipulation matches and stuff, but I was surprised that Undertaker at no point. But then you realize that Shawn Michaels was a tag team when Taker was starting off. And then Shawn was main eventing when Taker was second tier. And then Shawn was hurt after Shawn got over the Undertaker to win the title. Shawn was gone for 4 years when Undertaker went on his little run. And that leads into 2004, and they don't really have much because they're on separate brands for a few years. So Shawn actually never lost to Taker one-on-one on WWE TV, which is kind of a really wild thought.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Let's see. Probably just check my notes, right?
It was just your basic like this match was very reminiscent to me in a way of the the Bret and Undertaker one night only match.
You can tell how good of workers they are, man. These guys can tell a story. It reminds me of the olden times, even though it's WrestleMania.
And they're
25.
This was 2009, so they're 18 years to Undertaker and 20 years for Shawn Michaels, and that's plus on both sides. So these guys are both 2 decades into their career, and like they work so well, they sell so well, their high spots are high. Shawn Michaels does a lot of good storytelling, working the Undertaker's legs, locking him in the figure four, trying to get submissions. Undertaker trying to get into the Hell's Gate. Shawn hits the ropes. Like throughout this match, you get a lot of great storytelling.
They have a bunch of great counters too. So like, we'll have Michaels go for like an off the top rope thing.
It took me back to the Iron Man match that we talked about. Like the way that the counters. There wasn't such a counter as how it flowed from one guy to the next.
Yeah, so he'll counter the choke slam into like a roll up, and then he'll counter the roll up into the Hell's Gate, and then it's just like
The
smooth
choke slam.
transitioning.
The sad thing is that some moves they couldn't move as well. So when Sean was lifted up for the choke slam and he turned it into a tombstone or into a DDT, the Undertaker he goes up, and when he falls on his side. So the Undertaker's head's over here, nowhere near the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, he didn't turn as well. But you're like, you know what? I'm not mad at that fact. Like, I get why he couldn't turn his body that well.
Cold as hell, man. Let's see. Yeah, so they go for like they tease their finishing moves. The Hell's Gate is teased.
The one spot where they're on the outside, and Taker goes to jump over the top rope, and Sean pushes the referee and pulls the cameraman, but the cameraman doesn't drop his camera in time, and Taker couldn't quite get enough height. So the combination of not enough height and not being able to catch him.
But right before that, though, Sean goes for a moonsault. I don't know if he botched the moonsault, where he slipped off the top rope, and the Undertaker. I don't know if it was just supposed to happen or not.
It looked legit.
But Taker just like kind of shoves him out of the way.
The way that he shoved him down, I thought that it was legit.
Mm-hmm.
It did seem real because they didn't really waste a lot of time selling the next move.
Mm-hmm. And right after this is the plancha that you're talking about. So Taker goes for the suicide dive from the inside to the outside on Sean.
Yeah.
Sean pulls the camera guy out, but Undertaker's just a little bit too short, and it looks like he lands on his head.
And you know who that cameraman was?
No.
You remember Deuce and Domino?
No.
So they were these like Grease kind of guys. That Cherry was their, I think it was Cherry, was their valet. They were like John Travolta in Grease, and they were Deuce and Domino. It was Deuce, who is a Snuka family member, and he had been released well before this, and he was kind of making his way back. And I guess that this was one of those things where like, well, we can't trust you to not be in their match. We can't trust you in a match, and that was the end of his WWE stint.
Fuck. Yeah. So after the missed plancha or suicide dive by the Undertaker, he beats a 10 count that Sean is hoping that he won't beat because it's gone back and forth, and he's kind of having trouble trying to put the dead man out. Sean reverses a tombstone pile driver into the sweet chin music, but can't get the it's the same story. He can't get the 3 count on the Taker. Taker can't get the 3 count on him. Sean kicks out of a nasty last ride by the Undertaker.
This is where they start. Like you can tell the match is wrapping up because these guys kind of start going a little harder, and there's stuff in that last ride, like. Because the first one he does where Shawn Michaels reverses it, and then, what was it? He reverses it into a roll-up, and he pulls him out of the roll-up and turns it into the last ride.
Yeah.
And the way he slams him, like, the way he lifts him up, he almost drops him.
Dude,
and
it looks like he lands head like on the back of his head for that last ride.
That was so hard, and you're like, God damn it, Sean. Like, good. Like, yeah, it was rough to watch that one.
Let's see. Yeah, so Sean kicks out of that. Undertaker goes for a top rope elbow that he misses himself. The Macho Man elbow, the one that Sean does.
Oh yeah, the top rope elbow drop. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen the Undertaker go for that, and he went for it. So Sean gets tossed to the outside, but does his Royal Rumble thing where he's gonna try to get back in, and that's where. That's where he gets caught for the tombstone, and everyone's like, "Oh, well, it's over." Nope, kick out by Sean again.
Do you want to? Sorry, I got rock a piss. Do you want to wrap this one?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, so after Taker gets Sean off of the ropes from the Royal Rumble finish. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, the Royal Rumble finish. is one of those finishes where Shawn gets tossed to the outside, but his feet never hit, and he uses the ropes to jump back in. When he jumped back in, he got in position for the pile driver, the tombstone pile driver, and gets hit with it, but kicks out. He eventually hits his top rope elbow. They're exchanging of their finishing moves, to try to tease a finish between both of them. Taker kicks out. The crowd can't believe it. Shawn can't believe it. Taker can't believe it. They're like, what the hell's going on? And then, which will lead us to our finishing spot. They're both by the corner. Shawn starts climbing the turnbuckle. He's going to go for the moonsault. He goes for the moonsault. Undertaker catches Shawn. Lands the tombstone pile driver on Michaels. And that's pretty much it. We finally get the 3 count on Shawn. And, yeah, so Undertaker is 16-0 at this point by taking out Shawn at WrestleMania. What is this, 21? No, 25, sorry. Yeah, so now he is 17-0. Damn, this match was half an hour long. Taker wins by pinfall. And, there's Ryan. Yeah, so Taker wins by pinfall after catching him off the moonsault, Ryan.
Pretty
Cool spot.
These guys always have done these like really good finishes.
Mm-hmm.
Minus, of course, there've been some like no DQs in that, but I love the catching him off the ropes. I love the catching on the moonsault. I love the sweet chin music spot. I like the reversal of the choke. Like, these guys work well with each other. They do good spots. It kind of sucks that there are a couple botches, at least one for sure, in this match. But it set the story going forward where, and I'm guessing this is something that we'll talk about if we get to it. It will lead to another match with Shawn, and then the back-to-back with Triple H. And he just keeps on winning and winning and winning. But tragedy ultimately does strike. And this is wrestling, but it's also the real world. And, Percy Pringle, Paul Bear himself, passes away in real life. And there's some tributes that are meaningful when Eddie Guerrero dies and you see Chris Benoit and Eddie Guerrero, Dean Malenko crying. And then when Chris Benoit dies, Dean Malenko talking about burying 2 of his best friends. And when Owen Hart passed away, Stone Cold, whose career was ultimately defined by his broken neck, standing on the top rope, crashing 2 beers and saluting Owen. Like, there's moments. But with Paul Bear, they just put his picture up on the screen, and Undertaker was walked out and just saluted and just walked away, and the urn just left in the ring. It was so perfect. And it just set up the great storyline of the 500-plus day champion CM Punk getting fucked over so that WWF could have The Rock and Cena 2, one time only, for the second time.
I think Jesus went to the one that was here in Chicago. I'm not sure exactly which one it was.
The
Mania here in Chicago.
The Taker and CM Punk in. I honestly.
2006. Never mind. That's the one he went to.
I think that CM Punk and Undertaker should have ended the streak.
I don't know. I think Bray. Oh, that was later on though. So let's see. The next WrestleMania, he goes 19-0. Sorry, 18-0 against Shawn Michaels again. No disqualification. Streak versus career match.
Yep. So Shawn retires.
Next WrestleMania in April 3rd, 2011. He takes on Triple H. I remember this match. I started watching wrestling little by little again.
He kind of came back in that.
I started coming back.
Yeah, so this was just the regular match, right? And then the next one's the Hell in a Cell.
This is a no holds barred match. The next one is
Yeah, it's the Hell in a Cell.
with
That's-
Shawn Michaels, special guest referee.
Yeah, so that's 27, 28, and then 29. The CM Punk one is so good, where they steal the urn and they're just tormenting the Undertaker. And I get Brock Lesnar beating the streak to continue his dominance. CM Punk, his gimmick was telling a lot of the truth.
Mm-hmm.
He was always overshadowed. When he was champion, he was overshadowed. No matter what, they pushed him and pushed him and pushed him, and the fans loved him and loved him and loved him, but he was always overshadowed in some way, kind of like how Bret Hart was. And I think that if they had him go on this 500-day run, lose to The Rock, just so they could have Rock and Cena, whatever, have him beat The Undertaker, and then have him beat Cena, and have him go on another year-long run and really show his dominance. And CM Punk's still in the WWE today.
Mm-hmm.
This was the match I think that really spelled the end. This was the beginning of the end, because this match was so good and had so much potential. A year later, they give it to Lesnar, and it's kind of like a cop out because of what we see Lesnar become the past 5-6 years. But I digress.
If they would have put it on Punk and he would have done the same thing, it would have been a waste. Like if they would have let him end the streak and then he goes on to do what he did.
I think because he had the title reign going into the streak, not using the streak as his jumping board. Like if he had this the 500-day reign, then he ends the streak, and then he gets the title for another year of dominance. Then you're looking at 3 years of him being the champion for like 800 days, and he ended the streak. That is much more to me than just Brock Lesnar showing up every couple of months and defending it one time here, one time there. Like CM Punk's there every single night pushing himself, and I think there was so much more in CM Punk and The Undertaker. Even if even with the outcome of this match, they don't do a receipt anywhere. Like it would have been nice to see CM Punk actually like clean 1, 2, 3 in the ring, beat The Undertaker. But after this, he kind of moves on to fighting Brock Lesnar and all that stuff.
Yeah. I really enjoyed this match.
So much fun.
Yeah, it was a really good match. Nice lead up to the match. Let's see. So Punk's playing the cocky heel, like, come on, fight me. I'm the best in the world. They've been fucking with The Undertaker. Let's see. Taker, the bigger, better striker than this guy. We see a similar arm drag to Taker's walking the ropes here, that Punk does. That we kind of referenced to earlier with the Bret Hart, that I really enjoyed. It was a nice callback.
And that leads to
Punk walking the ropes.
CM Punk really wants to deliver this. He wants to really embarrass The Undertaker.
Mm-hmm.
So he starts working the arms a lot too, and so like he's hell bent on delivering old school to The Undertaker.
Mm-hmm. Heyman blocks a plancha by Undertaker, so he's trying to suicide dive to the outside, and Heyman gets in the way. Let's see.
And Heyman, I love Paul Heyman does such a good job throughout this match, and like, you're 1 second away. Keep working the body. You got like he's really. You can hear him on like audible on camera. Really telling Punk how close he is to doing the unthinkable.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. One of the spots that I really could remember, he puts Undertaker on one of the tables and then goes for the elbow, and the table doesn't break.
Undertaker went to do something. The last ride, and CM Punk slips out and gets Taker onto the table. And yeah, when he hits it, they just kind of one of those ones where it's like he hits them and just rolls off the ground, and like, oh, that the Spanish didn't build this table.
Yeah, Another spot that I noted down was when they're back in the ring, Punk slaps on a submission, one of the like an arm submission.
Oh, the Anaconda was it that you used?
It was something
Or
they were calling it like a vice lock or something.
the vice grip. Yeah,
Yeah, the
that's
vice
right.
grip. Yeah, and the Undertaker kind of he does his get up thing that he does, and he looks at fucking this guy in the face and gets up and gets out of the submission. I thought that was a pretty cool spot.
Yeah.
Let's see. They have a nice trading of reversals again, kind of similar to Shawn and Taker. Sorry, pronouns.
Pronouns, pal.
Let's see. Like I said, there's a lot of reversals and teasing. The tombstone gets reversed by Punk, and then he teases the GTO to go to sleep.
Even like the final what's not the final sessions, but the final moves that they're putting together. Because you get the choke slam, you get the go to sleep, you get the diving elbow, you get all these things, and it's 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, and then finally he gets up, he's gonna hit the go to sleep. Oh, reversal!
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit! Here comes the tombstone, and as he picks him up, it's so beautiful how CM Punk like windmills his body and picks him back up, and then Undertaker reverses it, but instead of going sideways and picking him up, he kind of goes backwards a little bit, but he takes a couple steps and like drags CM Punk before fully lifting him up and like setting himself up and dropping him. I'm like, I don't think it ends this early. You get 1, 2, 3. Like, oh shit, it was this early.
Yeah. No, it was a good match. One of the spots where Taker goes for and we had seen it previously. Like I said, we broke down a bunch of Taker matches, some of his best. He goes for the last ride with CM Punk getting the urn handed to him.
Oh, sorry.
By
Yeah,
Heyman.
that's right.
He hits the Undertaker, gets out of it. No, but it was in between like the teasings of both of their finishers, back and forth, back and forth. Taker's gonna get a choke slam. He gets out of it. Teases the GTO. This guy gets out of it. Teases the tombstone.
GTS.
GTS. Yeah, sorry.
GTO is like the car oil. You don't want to go to sleep with the GTO.
You'll die. Yeah, so he gets the tombstone off of one of those reverses and gets the 3 count. Not a lot of back and forth like in the Shawn matches.
Yeah. But I found this one. It's hard. Like everyone says that Shawn and Taker match was the greatest. It's so hard. Like, you know what I mean? Like sometimes you watch. Like I can watch a Shawn and Stone Cold match and think it's the best. Like I can watch a Taker and Bret match. I can watch Bulldog and Owen. Like you can go back and forth and see so many guys and be like, that's the best. That's the best. With this show, I'm learning to kind of like watch matches as they are, more than ranking my favorites. I'm kind of like realizing like I have a group of favorite matches more than a top 2 kind of deal. This was so entertaining. Like I can't put this ahead of Shawn and Taker, but I also can't put Shawn Taker ahead of this match. Like these ones are very even for the story that they were telling at that time, and they were just fucking entertaining. And and like we said at nauseum, it's the flow of the match, the reversals, things. It's where there might be a slip up here or there. It's not terrible. Like when Shawn was trying to lock up, I forgot to mention this at 25. And he has the crossface on, but really he's like holding Undertaker, but he's like leaning all this way. And I'm like, that's not a crossface. Like, there's no pain. You know what I'm talking about? That one spot. And I'm like, that's not a regret. That's nothing. And then all of a sudden, Shawn moves his hips and like, there you go. And all of a sudden, you're like, that's what you like. But I can't knock the match because these guys were battling. It's like if you're in a wrestling match, you don't just automatically put a guy in a pin situation. You have to work at it, and you think you're good, but you have to push yourself, and then you can flip your hips and get a guy into a position. So I can see how they could tell that story of this is hurting the Taker, but it's not quite finishing him because of that reason, you know, and that's what I appreciate about the Undertaker. Like even in his bad moments, they're good moments.
Yeah. So after the 21-0 of that, on October 3rd, No, October 23rd, 2010. Brock Lesnar loses to Kane Velasquez. And as Brock Lesnar's leaving
Oh yeah.
in the crowd, he walks by Mark Calloway, The Undertaker. As he's walking by, The Undertaker asks him, "You want to do it?" And he's not referencing butt fucking, guys. He's talking about, well, who knows what, we all think it leads to him breaking the streak and him telling him, "Hey, are we going to run it back again at WrestleMania? Are we going to have one last match where, what?" But this leads to Brock Lesnar ending the streak, pretty much coming back to WWE after getting beat by Kane.
Actually, I take it back. It gives us the Undertaker's greatest moment at SummerSlam when Brock Lesnar's laughing and Taker sits out. He's like,
yeah, and they both laugh at each other.
It's like that weird laugh. Like, what the fuck was that? Like,
Yeah.
Bray Wyatt shit.
3 F5s put away The Undertaker, ending the streak. When was this? April 6th. Yep. April 6th at WrestleMania 30?
WrestleMania 30.
2014.
It's a little disputed. Some people say it was at the Superdome.
Mm-hmm.
Hulk Hogan says it's at the Silverdome. Take what you want from that.
And he tries to correct himself.
If you're a wrestling fan, you'll get that one.
Yeah, he later tries to correct himself later.
When Austin says, "Here at the Superdome," "Oh, I'm sorry, brother. I just remember back in the Silverdome when I lifted Andre the Giant above my head in front of 93,000 people, brother, and I slammed him down for the pinfall, brother." Like, nah, too many years of brain trauma, Bubby.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happened to you.
Yeah. So I think the year after this, they're not. I don't know why it's not here. He beats Bray Wyatt.
After this is Bray, then is Roman Reigns.
So Roman beats him.
Oh no, Shane McMahon, then Roman Reigns.
Okay, Shane and then Roman, and Roman gets one of the biggest heel heat moments of all time the next day on Raw.
And the best part is that was supposed to be his big face moment.
Yep.
His face was supposed to be returning the Undertaker, and they're like, "Fuck you! You be under WrestleMania."
Dude,
Fuck
it was like 8
you.
minutes of booing, and all he said towards the end was, "It's my yard now," and then he left. I thought that was one of the
But you know
craziest
what?
moments.
If they were smart, they make him a heel, but they didn't. They should have just went full heel on him.
If they were smart, they would have had him come out on a motorcycle with a bandana, and the new song said, "It's Roman, 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 Roman Reigns."
I'm not mad at that at all.
And it would have been the new American Badass.
But,
Stick it to the Undertaker.
the iconic moment, eh? Gloves come off, hat and trench coat go on, and as he leaves, he stops.
Mm-hmm.
Trench coat goes down, gloves go down, hat goes down. He just walks, and Undertaker's dead. And he's gone for a full year until John Cena, "Come on,
you know what?
I retire without fighting you once at WrestleMania."
I hated it. You know why I hated this? I was in the Rosemont Arena or Rosemont, whatever. Yeah, leading up to this WrestleMania, and it was very close to WrestleMania, and he came out, and I got to witness the Undertaker's walkout.
Really?
Yeah, and I have it on one of my phones, like it's a clip. I'm way up top, but we got to witness the Undertaker walk out, and it was his build up to the last WrestleMania. Well, which we thought was going to be the last WrestleMania. Right. And then he loses to Reigns, and I'm like, oh my God. I was telling Jesus, I'm like, we might have just fucking, well, after the fact, I'm like, we might have just seen the last entrance of the Undertaker here in Chicago.
You understand when that happened? Like, I'm man enough to admit it. When I saw him put that stuff down, he walked out, I cried. I teared up. I'm like, Jesus, like, this is like one of the last moments of my childhood is gone. Like, I have very little from my childhood that I can still sit back and enjoy.
Yeah, WrestleMania 34, bro. You're not going to wait that long.
But then my wife comes back and she gets me this. Like, this is probably one of the reasons why. Like, this is one of my things. My wife's like, oh, here, I know you were so upset from the Undertaker retiring and you were so sad and I made fun of you. So I got the Undertaker. I'm like, I love this toy now. This is my Jesus statue. I'm gonna pray this every night. And then a year later,
in Paul Bear's voice, you have to do that.
Oh, Undertaker.
Taker. Good night, Undertaker.
A year later, John Cena comes in. I throw it in the garbage. I'm done.
Yeah, so John Cena comes out. Who wins? I don't remember that.
Taker destroys him.
Okay.
It's like a squash match. Yeah. Just because Taker doesn't even make an appearance. Like he's like, fine, you don't want to fight me, and he's about to walk. Cena actually has a seat in the crowd, and he jumps into the ring saying, "Come on, Taker, come on!" And Taker comes out and just buries him, and that was it. And then we didn't see him this past year.
Yeah, first time in 19
WrestleMania.
years. His record is 24-2.
Yeah.
He will also later on. It's not even here. They haven't even put it up. They haven't updated it. I think it's SummerSlam. He fights Goldberg, and they have a fucking horrible match.
No, that was the
Survivor Series.
The Super Show in Saudi Arabia.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
We talked about that when after it happened. There, when Goldberg actually speared the post and shit. And there were rumors to actually we want to maybe do that one again, without Goldberg getting severe brain trauma.
Yeah, they were saying that they actually wanted to run it back, but they were kind of mad at each other. I heard they were yelling at each other backstage.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, and I get it. Like Goldberg was probably pissed because he was in the wrong state of mind because he was fucked out of his mind throughout. That match was not bad up until we talked about it when it happened. I can't really break it down fresh right now, but I remember enjoying that match up until the spear, and after that spear it was just lazy spot, not lazy spot, sloppy because of injury, I should say. And yeah, just it was unfortunate how it happened. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. There's nothing you can do about it at this point, I guess. You know, it happened. Unfortunately, these things do happen. I watched a lot of these Undertaker matches saying like, oh shit, how did that guy keep going? And then you watch a match and you're like, oh shit, why is that guy still going?
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, Shawn and Undertaker, that botched plancha could have easily ruined that match. Instead, it became a great story point.
Yeah.
Same thing with Goldberg. Maybe he just hit his head and splits himself up, but he's still balanced enough to pick up Taker for the jackhammer, and he's still able to pick up Taker for the tombstone. Unfortunately, he wasn't. It sucks that it happened the way that it did, but I mean, that was the last we've seen of Taker. But he's coming back? No.
WrestleMania, yeah.
Sting's coming back next week, and I haven't heard any rumor. I'm not breaking news. I'm kind of tickled in my belly that they're gonna do Sting and Undertaker at Survivor Series, because I have heard that Taker's coming back, and I've heard that Sting is trying to get clearance, and I've heard that they want to do Sting and Taker in a one-off. So I'm jumping leap years ahead, but I'm kind of finger crossing that we get Sting and Undertaker at Survivor Series, at which the Fiend can come out and set up the WrestleMania match or something along, because Undertaker likes to disappear for months on end right now, which could tell a good story. The Fiend attacks the Undertaker and buries him at Survivor Series, and then Taker comes back and does like the whole Kane at 14, fine, I'll fight you my one last match kind of deal. Like, I don't know. Like I said,
you, Bray Wyatt has to eat him now that he's the Fiend.
I'm not mad. Like that idea of Bray Wyatt.
I said it as a joke, but now the more and more I keep saying it, the more and more I like it.
That theory of like killing off the Undertaker, like how else are you gonna kill the Undertaker? You
rip his heart out and eat it.
He's been buried alive 2 times, I don't remember. He's been buried alive twice, and he's still kicking.
He floated up to heaven one time too. You remember that? His spirit.
Marty Jannetty was the guy. Rumor has that. I don't know if that's true.
He was a spirit. I think we're done, Ryan.
Yeah,
I know we brushed over a lot, and if people want to hear again, if people want us to cover more a certain era of the Undertaker, because like 30 years is a lot. go ahead and drop us a comment on this episode or in the group. But I don't know. You got anything else on Taker?
Like you said, if you're listening to this and you're friends of mine on Facebook or whatever, message me. If you're friends of Raf, if you're not in the group, I should say, message Raf. If you're in the group, let us know. I would love to break down a specific time frame, or if you have a match, we can always, like, if you want to hear a certain match, when we can add it to a match of 6. We can do like 2 and 2 and have 2 fan kind of ones. I'm cool with that. Like, they're not fan listeners. Sorry, I'm feeding my ego a bit too much there. But you know what I mean? Like, if there's a match that you want to hear us talk about, by all means, an era match, I'd be down for that. Otherwise, 30 years, and it's wild to think that I'm 34, and I did watch it later on in life, but I still remember the Undertaker's first entrance and watching it, and watching Undertaker's last match. Like, it's just mind-boggling to me that he's been 29 years, and I remember watching his entire career in WWF is just weird to me to think. Like, it puts so much into perspective when you say 29 years, and I'm like, I remember every incarnation, maybe not in order, but I remember the gear, the gimmicks. He's such a good character. He's one of those guys, like, I feel like I tell you this after every show, that every time we break down a guy's career, I'm like, I could have went another 15 matches. Like, we're gonna have to do Scott Hall Part 2, Scott Hall Part 3.
Oh yeah, no, like I said, there's different parts we could do of the Undertaker. We probably will.
I feel like, and it's like the fact that we've done some of these guys' careers, if you would, like this one we did brush over a lot. It does kind of open up the option of us just being able to dip in and touch on the matches and dip out. We don't have to like break a lot down. We can just delve more to the storylines at that time frame. Like, there's a lot that we can do, and a lot of these guys. I had a lot of fun. Thank you to all your listeners that voted. I didn't see, like you said, who was second, but who knows? Maybe next time it'll be Undertaker of a certain year versus someone else of a certain year. Who knows what we're gonna like? Because I did realize that there's a lot to remember about these guys after a while, and I can't go 4 or 5 hours, even though I want to sometimes.
No, dude, it was a blast, but 2 hours and 20 minutes about the Undertaker, I think, is good enough for this episode. We can get more in depth, like I said, but if you guys like what you hear, please subscribe to the podcast, share, rate, and review the Full Heel Podcast.
Or else you can rest in peace.
Yeah, I got nothing else, Ryan. I'm just gonna end the episode with that. Thanks a lot for helping me.
Thank you for having me on. I did not feel obligated, and I never will.
Thanks a lot, Ryan. I love you, buddy. I'll see you next time.
Love you too, player.
Peace out, guys.